Reality.
UFOs.
Science.
Consciousness.
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
That might not be a real thing. The podcast.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. For the audience that we have so far, it seems people are enjoying it, and we're enjoying it, so glad to hear that. Got a guest tonight, a buddy of mine, ex-Army infantry paratrooper. Is that correct? My buddy Trav. And I'm here, as always, with my co-hosts, Danny D and Macca, Danimal.
I woke up 2 days in a row with a quality control sticker on the head of my dick.
What does that mean?
So I bought new underwear. Like, I'm getting smaller, losing weight. So I bought like small underwear, and there's like a QC pass sticker on each one that's like really small. And 2 days in a row, I woke up with the sticker on the head of my dick, and I just had a little giggle about it because, yeah.
Oh, so that's a real thing. You woke up with a quality control sticker,
yeah, like
randomly
QC pass, like green little
somehow
sticker.
come off of the underwear
and onto
fastened itself
onto the head of my dinky.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
it was really
precise.
Yeah, and it was 2 days in a row. I 2 different pairs of underwear, 2 stickers. I thought it was the most amazing thing ever. I told my wife, I'm like, look. I showed her it, actually. I was like, look what happened. Look how crazy that is. So I have more underwear from that pack. So if it naturally happens again, that's fucking astronomical.
It is.
But that's, yeah. But hi, guys.
You immediately want me to get off topic because you got me so excited about that. But Sean, what's going on? How was your week?
I forgot everything after that.
It's hard not to.
Yeah, I can't really top getting stickers on my dick, so I'm just gonna pass it back.
All right, that's fine. I had a lovely week, mostly. Hard week at work.
Delightful.
It was delightful. I want to wish everybody out there a happy Valentine's Day from That Might Not Be a Real Thing. And thank you to a Miss Alizé, who will be on the show in a few weeks, for making my Valentine's Day weekend terrific. And I mean fucking terrific.
She's my master.
Oh, yeah. She's coming on the show. You guys are going to really enjoy it. You're going to hear it raw from the horse's mouth, what it was all about, what the experience was all about, taking a roll in the hay with me. Anyway, I'm here with my buddy Trav. Trav is... You're done your tour, but you're considered still in the military, but you're not.
So, I mean, I did my time. So you do, like, I signed up for, it was a little over 4 years. And then I'm in what's considered inactive reserve, right? Which means, like, before they would do a draft,
right,
they would call the inactive reserve because you, like, somewhat know what the hell you're doing.
If North Korea invaded tomorrow,
yeah,
but
it's not
So you're inactive reserve right now?
Yeah.
Okay, so my brother-in-law is active reserve.
Turn those down one point.
What, mine?
No, all of them.
Okay.
Yeah, so the reserves are different. Inactive, like, you don't show up to anything. It's not really a real thing. I just get a bunch of annoying emails trying to...
It's a legal obligation.
Yeah.
Right. But you are a paratrooper, 82nd Airborne out of Fort Bragg.
Yeah.
I know that from the movie Predator. They find the dudes in the they're all hung up, skinless. Mm-hmm. Arnold pulls the tags off. He says, Marines out of Fort Bragg or something, like, and then my other buddy was like, he was in the 82nd Airborne, but they're a paratrooper unit, so it means that you're light infantry, but you're trained to jump out of an airplane in a parachute.
Yeah, so light infantry is a deceiving term, I guess you'd put it, and so light infantry means you don't really have vehicles. It means you carry everything on your back, so it means you personally are probably way heavier than, like, a mech dude or somebody who rides around with tanks, because we just have to walk everything in. But
how many pounds total would you be carrying?
So, like, training wise, like, we'd often, like, be like 60 to 80 pounds, like, average just backpack, and then you got like about 30-40 pounds of gear on top of that. But I mean, like, on deployment, like, when we'd have to, like, position into, like, a machine gun position on, like, a fob or something like that, sometimes our bags would be like 150 pounds. Ooh. Walking in.
Wow.
For those of you who are not down with the military acronyms, a FOB is a forward operating base.
Yeah, sorry, I'm gonna be.
So you jumped out of airplanes?
Yes.
Did you have to wear a diaper because you shit your pants every time?
No, but actually, I'm slightly afraid of heights, so it's like terrifying every single time. It never got easier for me. I have just over 30 jumps, which is like, that's not that many. Like, so I know some dudes had like over 100, but
30 jumps. So they would tell me, "Okay, time for you to jump." I'd be like, I don't want to do it. Like, you got to do it. I don't want to do it.
That's a jump refusal. Then you get kicked out.
Oh yeah, they pick me.
Well,
right out.
aren't you guys linked up in some kind of a tandem system?
Or is
that only in training?
If you want the nitty gritty on how like we jump out of planes, so it's like civilian jumping. You free fall. You're at like 1,300 or 13,000 feet. You're like pretty high up in the air. So you're just hanging out in the air, coming down. It's all nice. You got a nice chute that you can glide in on. It's all fun for the most part. For us, we jump in low level. We're static line, which means our chutes are connected to a cable inside the plane. So we're about 800 feet to 1,000 feet off the ground. We jump out of this plane with a shitload of gear on us. And I mean, there's tons of people around you. Your chute opens up and you got about 40 seconds till you're on the ground. You're coming down about the same speed as if you just jumped out a second story window.
Okay.
So it's pretty fun.
Are your guns out right away? And you're on the ground?
So that's why we fall so fast is you can't shoot back in the air. We're useless.
Yes, the whole reason for war and many other things are just a science, okay? Yeah. And they're broken down into even sub-sciences, right? And so paratrooping became a thing in like World War II. Because World War I we didn't have good enough planes. We had like biplanes. Yeah. You could fit mount a machine gun.
You're dead in those planes.
World War II they had, flying fortresses, they were dropping nukes, they had big payloads, they had paratroopers, right? And so they got these guys jumping out of airplanes, falling in hostile territory, and they're basically defenseless in the air. So they had to figure out, like, scientifically, what is the fastest possible way that I can throw this dude out of a plane with all the shit he's wearing, get him on the ground without someone being able to shoot him, and have him be able to, like, not break his legs, roll his knee, pull a fucking
They would drop
blowout
loads.
They would drop loads.
So when I was dropping my load, right, So you have to do what's called a PLF, or parachute landing fall. So unlike the civilian where you can like walk it out, or you see somebody like skid onto their butt, we have to like basically like once we hit the ground, we roll out like a sack of potatoes, because like if you don't, you're gonna be rough.
Guys break their legs.
Yeah. Oh, guys break their legs. I know a dude that was 3 inches shorter because he had a few of his vertebrae fused together because he landed on top of a Humvee.
Bear Grylls broke his back jumping, doing a parachuting, doing parachuting.
I think his, I don't know if his was static line as well. It might have been. I could have been wrong with
during
that too.
SAS training or working out with them. Whatever.
Which are a bunch of savages.
So what if you go up and you obviously have to hold it, right? If you have to take a shit.
Oh yeah, I watch guys piss themselves. Like,
I was gonna say you better do it like way before you get on that plane, right?
The C-130s did have bathrooms too. I mean, like go to the bathroom was such an event if you were in harness, like you rigged up, because you get like certified by like a dude that checks all your gear over, and then you can jump out the plane. So if you have to like unbuckle to go pee, like everybody's gonna hate you. Well, or you might miss your jump. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of like things about it. Like you just don't do that. So I watched like guys like pee on the floor before, like snake their dick out the side of their pants and kind of just like piss on the Air Force's nice planes. They never like that, but hey, fuck them.
You know what I like doing? I like getting out of the pool and just peeing on the grass with like my bathing suit on. Yeah. I'm already wet,
You're saying
peeing. I don't pull anything down. I just pee right in my.
You wet your trunks and jump right back in the water.
Exactly. Yeah.
Man, you're something else.
Yeah. One time I was on a long movement through a swamp, and we just got out of the water, and I had to piss, and I just looked down. I was like, I'm soaked in warm water anyways, so I just took a piss right down my pants. It was pretty fun.
What was this in South Carolina? Is this in training?
No, yeah, that was down in Louisiana.
Just trying to figure out. I don't imagine there are many swamps in Afghanistan.
No.
But hold on, I was just gonna say, Trav did it. Trav did. What did you do? A full year in Afghanistan?
No, just under. So
just under a year.
A little over, like 8 months, 6 months.
He's got some great stories. I'm gonna let you guys open up on them because I've already heard so many of them, and I'll bring up some cool ones when I can. But your job was it's the squad automatic weapon, the SAW. Or was it an M60?
So when I was deployed, I was at the time a SAW gunner, which is a squad automatic weapon, which is a belt-fed machine gun, but a light machine gun. So it's like squad internal. So it's like on a maneuvering element, or the guys that kind of run around, kick doors down. Like,
you see guys shoot them out of helicopters when they're fixed sometimes.
Those are usually like 240s. So that's like a
similar
MMG, a medium machine gun. It's a little bigger.
And then a chain felt gun is like, what's Rambo's big gun? Is that
the M60?
The M60?
I guess that would still be a MMG, a medium machine gun, but it shoots the same round as a 240. So mine was a little smaller. It shoots the same as an AR-15 or an M4.
Right, 5.56.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So for those of you who don't know, like, I'll let you guys ask him what his life was like and stuff like that. But basically, you got to carry what? 1,000 rounds of ammo, 2 500-round drums.
So yeah, like a guy who's a rifleman, like an M4, carries 7 magazines, which is 210 rounds. But me as a machine gunner, I carry a little more. I carried 1,000 rounds linked 5.56 on a belt.
So that weighs what?
Like a bandolier, like Chewbacca?
Oh, man.
No, like 2 fucking sacks full of 500 rounds,
yeah.
bro.
I mean, it was pretty heavy. I forget what the weight is, and I know my command team, if they would ever hear me now, would be kicking me in the dick for not knowing the weight of it. But
one question I'm going to ask before I pass the ball is, and I've never asked you this one, is that something that you saw? Get it, saw, and you were like, "Hey, I want to do that," or is it something that like they were looking at the platoon and they were like, "Who's the best equipped guy in the group to run the LMG? It's this fucking dude."
And then let me just pass the mic. In answer that question, and also like how you became a paratrooper. Like,
okay,
how do they pick? You know? Yeah.
We'll start with the paratrooper one. We'll move to the gun one. How about that down the line?
That works.
So for me, I started out as I had a, like everybody knows in the 82nd, if you're in the 82nd, usually you're a washout from the Special Forces selection, either RASP or 18 X-ray, which is Green Berets. So basically, you either go in with an airborne contract, not a lot of people do, like right out the bat from your recruiter, or you go to SF selection or like a Ranger Bat selection, which I did.
Special Forces, Sean.
And then you wash out, you get kicked out, or you drop out, and then you get reassigned, and usually that's good old 82nd Airborne.
Okay.
And then how did I get to being SAW gunners? Basically, sometimes they put like the big dude on it because he can carry it, and that's like not the right thing. Like, that's people being lazy. It should be like the second most experienced internal on the team. So like my team leader is the head of the team. Obviously, he's the team leader. The second most experienced would be the SAW gunner because he has the most casualty producing weapon per the team. So he has the biggest responsibility.
You're putting out the most. In video game, we call it DPS, damage per second.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
putting out the most DPS.
Yeah. Laying scunion, if you want to hear it in the technical term.
So what you're telling me is that you are, first of all, how many guys are in your unit?
My company would be like...
No, you said your squad, your unit, whatever.
So like a team's 4-man.
Your team.
Is it a 4-man team?
You're on a 4-man team?
It's like I mean, you would be.
I love it.
Yeah.
4 is a good number.
But like that's, I mean, it's scaled up. So my company has 3 platoons. These platoons about like a little over, 40 guys. So a company's around like 150 to 200 dudes, and then you have a few of those per battalion. It scales up.
So other than like a solo ninja guy like Snake Eyes that can just go around doing whatever he wants, the smallest unit like in the military is like sniper spotter, 2 guys. Then after that, it goes to 4Zs.
Yeah, even like Special Forces teams still like they'll roll with like a decent amount of dudes.
It makes sense. You can cover 360 degrees with 3 dudes, but it's easier with 4.
So, like, the biggest thing with the numbers game is, like, when you get into, like, room clearing and stuff like that, right? Because we do techniques where you leave, like, a guy to secure, like, a hallway or something like that. You breadcrumb dudes the whole way as you're snaking through a house.
Right.
So,
I see
what I'm saying? So, all of a sudden, when you get near the end of the line, you start running out of dudes. You know, and then you're like, oh, shit. So then you have to make a decision. Do I collapse security, right? Bring dudes up to where I am at to keep clearing, or do I keep clearing as like a small element, like 2-man team, which 2-man team you can do a room clear
Quick.
but it's, you know, I don't want to do a 2-man team room clear. That's kind of sketchy shit, you know.
Yeah, clearing a room's tough.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
So they control everything you do there. I mean, feeding you and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Do they give you? You think there's a science behind a certain amount of fiber that they give you to make sure that everybody's shitting properly? I'm serious. Like, constipation's a major fear for me for that. Like,
apparently.
Yeah. Like,
so the food on base, like, is just garbage.
no, but they must like at least have the nutrients down, right? They have to.
It's like school food. Like, they don't give a shit. It's
on
like,
fob, on the fob, or on the
like
actual?
back home. Like,
The
we're
back
talking.
home
So we're
food
talking
sucks?
like here, back at Bragg is like, yeah, it's like, okay. They do the best they can, I think, quote unquote. I don't really know. I would never eat there.
So that's
I
a
always made
concern.
my own food.
You know when you're driving home and you got some crap, and like some reason your bowels know the closer you get into home, like
Yeah,
they just
senses
know.
it.
It's like I'm like 20 feet from my house, and it's like, okay, it's time to shit. And then when you really have to go, it's like the last second is when you hit the toilet. It's like your body knew right away that's when you had to go. Does that happen like then? Like,
so like, like when I'm
Like,
out doing
yeah, like
something,
in
and like I'm like,
anticipation.
ooh, I have a moment where I can take a shit
Right.
here, and my body's like, you're gonna take a shit. No, it actually happened opposite. I feel like really good when I had a moment to breathe, and then like I'd be getting ready for my next like kind of like, because you know you take rest, you're not just full throttle the whole time, so
Right.
you might be in a lull in between like a mission or something like that. And whenever we'd be like, okay, we're ready to get in like, you know, chalk order to get on the birds and like go, you know, air assault, like take a helicopter into the next area where we're hitting, I'd be like, oh, I gotta
Time
take
to
a
shit.
Motherfucker, I gotta take a shit now.
'Cause we're still human, yeah.
And yeah, that's when you just have to get used to holding it.
The MREs, from what I haven't consumed one, although I do own a military issue MRE.
the rations. That you're talking about?
Meals ready to eat, they're
Oh,
called,
yeah.
the MREs.
Yep.
These guys aren't up with the military lingo. I'm a student of war and combat, Trav. These guys, you know, this guy likes sports, I think. I think he thinks he likes sports.
I might have
And
been a Civil War soldier. I'm not sure.
Yeah, before you were a vampire, after is the question.
Well, I told
Or
you.
during.
I've been around for 500 years, so
What
a lot
Civil
of people
War?
I just forgot.
That's the question. That's the question.
The American Civil War. I fought with the South, though.
Like,
Ew.
like
yeah.
Duncan MacLeod was in like a bunch of wars when he was the Highlander, and
Yeah.
Wolverine was in a couple himself, right? So
I moved to New Orleans.
I get it.
From Europe
I get it.
back in 1742.
So I was just going to ask. I've been told that the MREs make you really constipated because they're basically jamming a ton of nutrients and calories into you in like a tight meal. I wonder if it's intentionally keeping you constipated so that you don't have to stop and take a shit in combat, or would that weigh you down having that log in your tummy and they want you, maybe they give you a laxative to keep you loose. I don't know.
So that was like always the myth was like, hey, the gum in MREs are laxatives, right? Because it binds you up, and that was like always kind of like somebody said that. I don't know.
Yeah.
They don't want to bind you up. That's not good for long-term health.
Yeah.
For soldiers.
Now I don't know. Yeah, I don't think there was anything intentional. The gum was always chewing gum in there, or sometimes if you got real lucky, or you had like first strikes, which were like a different MREs, like for like a bigger food ration for like doing like missions, whatever. They'd give you like caffeine gum. That was pretty fucking.
that's cool.
That
That's
was
the
pretty
stuff.
lit. I could tell you a good caffeine story after. We used to get like way too fucked up on caffeine, but
We have a lot of like, great issues that we could talk about, and right now I'm not upset, but we are talking about crapping and pooping. And is that going to be the MO for the show moving forward, Dan? Are you going to always be concerned with how people poop and when they poop?
No.
Different types of poop
I mean,
they've
you
done.
could-
You can talk about whatever
I'm
you
starting
want.
to see a pattern develop.
I'm just asking
He's
my
talked
questions.
about boners,
I'm talking
too.
about real world things. Listen.
No, you are talking about real world things.
There's a lot of things about, like, you can ask a soldier, like technical things and stuff that, like, I want to hear just the real world shit, like eating and pooping and
day to day
prostitutes and just what you do
Fuck
day to day. Or just being bored. What do you do when you're bored?
Well, my understanding is...
You play video games probably, right?
We play video games, but mostly if, like, we're bored, we jack off. We jack off
I was going to ask that
constantly.
too.
You want
Where do you jack off?
Oh, everywhere
it's
and
bad.
anywhere. People jack off. We'll be in the field.
That was
They
in my
jack
notes.
off behind
That was in my notes.
Oh, well,
trees.
You've come to the right
Go down
place.
the side of a mountain, do a quick jack off. You know, like my SOG, Sergeant of the Guards, when I was on deployment, basically, like, we're occupying a fob. We have guys in towers running guard. So he's a guy that just kind of walks around, make sure everybody's awake and not asleep. So he would, like, call over the radio. Oh, yeah, by the pull-up bar. Oh, don't go over here tomorrow. You don't want to fucking see this mess I'm making. He would just walk around, just jerk off and ramp. We went in our fucking closet where we keep all our MREs in one of the buildings we had there. And he's fucking jerking off in the building, coming all over the MREs.
Just
It's
the
a high
disgusting
intense-
things men
Disgusting
do.
men.
Yeah.
But
Tell him about the CQC means close quarters combat, but tell him about your CQC jerk off roommate that you had. CQB?
CQB.
My acronyms.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You're close. Yeah, well, so, like, when we're on deployment, basically, we're on a shipping container. Like, we live in one. Like, 2 people per shipping container, small one. So we, like, divide the room up with, like, tarps or wherever we had to, like, try and give some sort of privacy to our world. But, you know, my fucking buddy would be like, oh, yeah, hey, I'm going to be jerking off, so if you got anything to do, now's the time. Because his bed's in the way of, like, the door. I had to walk through his side
you'd
of the
have to
room
walk past,
to get out.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I'd be like, oh, no, I'm good. Nah. So he'd be like, all right. He'd shut the door and fucking no headphones, no nothing. Just starts putting Jergens down on his hand. I could smell fucking burnt Jergens coming over from the other side of the room. This guy's going too hard.
Find
Fucking
a happy place.
just watching porn, blaring it loud. It's pretty good though. You know, like, I mean, hey, that's like everybody. We'd get back from missions and dudes would break out laptops with a projector and start playing porn on the hallway walls. So we could all sit out.
Young
and,
guys, it's so horny. You know?
Not all of them. Some of them are just, you know, older dudes too, career guys, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about chicks that are in the military?
Yeah.
I feel for them. Like,
He has some interesting things to say about that.
what is it? 1 out of 50 is a chick, probably, or even less than that.
Well, so in my job, it's different because infantry, they didn't mix us with females. Now it's different and they're integrating. But beforehand, it was kind of like just a bros club for us. And then everywhere else was on their P's and Q's. And we were just the savage lost boys. Fucking
Sounds like it.
White,
so far.
yeah.
You have pints and quarts. That's what that means.
That's
Yeah,
correct.
yeah. Mine's your pints and quarts.
Yeah. Get too drunk.
I believe it was invented by Irish people, but I don't know.
Chris has the best Irish accent for any American.
I guess.
You told us that.
Well, that's what I was told by an Irishman
Okay.
named Darcy. Yeah, these are the people that are protecting the world right now, everyone.
Yeah, they're all jerking off all over each other.
You have to, though. You have to release.
My
You
mother.
saw Wolf on Wall Street, right?
Mother's not listening.
I haven't seen
here.
She hasn't been
You gotta-
listening, right?
You got to get 2 in a day.
She'll never look at me again the right way.
Well, yeah, no. You'd be like, if she listened to the show, it would be like when people listened to Howard Stern because they hated him and wanted to see what he was going to say next. It would be out of horror.
I think she'd be horrified. I'd be like finding a dead body, like.
But it's just, you know, it is interesting that left to their own devices, the first fucking thing humans do when they've been like in a situation where they can't for a while. And this goes back to something I've always said. We'll probably talk about it like 100 times on the show, but I always say all the best sensations in like life come from putting or pushing things out of your body or putting things into your body. And the longer you go without being able to do one of those, the more like distressed you become.
The better it feels when it happens.
And the better it feels when it happens. Yeah, exactly. So,
True.
And the thing is that my mom thinks that like pornography is like one of the downfalls of our society. Like it's like one of the worst. Like if there were like 2 pillars of evil, that would be one of them, right? And it's running rampant all over the planet right now with the internet and like, you know, some huge percentage of data that's transferred on the World Wide Web is basically pornography, and I think it's something like 30%. So like of all the information that's being passed around on the internet, 30% of it's sex. It's sex.
Because here's the thing: we
baby.
can cover up like who we are, like we can build this giant technological world around ourselves, but at the end of the day, we're just we're ape people.
Dude,
you know what I mean?
I worked with monkeys, and the first thing that happened when I walked into the room was Spanky the monkey would jerk off and then eat it.
He would
That's
eat.
the first thing that happened when I walked in the room. No matter what, he saw me and just went nuts. Like, and that's just like where we used to be monkeys. So there you go.
I'm pretty sure we still are monkeys, we're just smarter.
Yeah.
I mean, we seem to exhibit all the same behavior as monkeys. You have to admit that the great apes are an amazing insight into humanity. Like when you look at them and you see them doing certain things, you're like, this is
Absolutely.
very human-esque.
Yeah, they
like
look at something
baboons.
with almost the same neurosis as a human sometimes. You can see them like looking at something, figuring it out, and you're like, motherfucker,
Dude, they were the most
you're gonna
neurotic,
like
yeah.
kill me one day. You're gonna take over the world and you're gonna rule it one day.
They were so anxious and neurotic, you wouldn't even can't even imagine Nick Cage too. So obviously that makes it worse. But they were so paranoid.
Yeah, that was a rough gig.
Yeah, no, cage monkeys is on a good thing.
Great.
That's nice.
A lot of jerking off by those caged monkeys.
Lots of jerking off. Well, because they put the females on one side of the room and the males on the other. So, like, the males just saw the females. It was like a torture and exercise and torture.
But, we didn't just only jerk off over there, too. I mean, a lot of times we'd be just, like, hanging out, like, chilling with, like, a lot of times I did work with the Afghans and shit like that, like the Afghan Army, the ANA.
I want to talk about some of that stuff.
Yeah, so it's like they're chill people. So it's like everybody thinks we're over there and, like, fighting everybody. It's like, no, you're not. Like, they have a government. They have, like, a military. They're trying to kind of like establish something over there, right. Some sort of like law of the land. And yeah, like a lot of the ANA dudes are like pretty chill, like you get to meet them and kind of like talk to them. You start to like learn a little more about them and like, you're like, oh shit, this motherfucker's just like me. He's watching like, chicks belly dance on Bollywood films. You know what I mean? He's like, oh, you want to see Pretty Girl? I'm like, oh, hell yeah, I do. Pulls out his like Nokia flip phone, and starts showing me some fucking Bollywood videos. But it's like, yeah, it's pretty like interesting, like interacting with all those dudes over there and like having that different culture because it's definitely a lot different than what you would expect or what you've been told even, even like you hear like stories of like who they are, like how they act and stuff like that. And
Allah Akbar.
How was the food?
Yeah,
the food, okay, so if you can get over dirty, nasty hands digging in the rice bowl and you're eating it with them, like you get over that fact of like getting dysentery from that
Their
way.
stomach's probably strong because of that.
Well, they're set. Yeah, you're gonna get the dysentery. They're fucking rock solid as far as digestion over there.
Right.
But I mean, it's good. Some of the best rice I've ever had. The people will always know the foot bread. It's called. It's like almost like a naan bread, like a Syrian bread.
An unleavened bread.
It's the fucking best bread I've ever had in my life.
Can I ask you a question? So
Yeah.
the government is there and it's set up, but like
Kind of.
Taliban was kind of like another government running around doing their thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, so it's not like the United States where like you're in the United States no matter where you go here. And over there though, there was like warlords, kinda. Is that what it was, or?
So it's like a faction group. So it's like they just. I mean, here's the thing with Afghanistan is like that country has been at war since its existence. Like there's never been a time where like Afghanistan's been like, ooh, peaceful, like, center. They've been at war with each other.
No recovery period.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, yeah, obviously you have your spats of like, fucking nothing going on. But like for the most part, they've been fighting each other, infighting, or fighting in like a country like Russia invaded, obviously, stuff like that.
A lot of infighting.
And because they're tribal,
that keeps you down.
Having a big country, but yet everybody views it as a tribal areas. It makes they can't unify under a country's thought.
All right, I want to cut you off just for a second,
yeah.
and I want that to be a perfect fucking example as a failure model for the entire world right now. Okay, if you look at Afghanistan and you say, hey, this this place has never advanced not that far, right? The stuff they do have has probably been brought to them by other cultures that were more advanced and said, here you go. Now you have access to this. Now you have access to that. But their main problem was that they had infighting. It made them weak, and they weren't allowed to prosper. And that's exactly the lesson that needs to be taken to the countries of the world, that, hey, if you look at our planet and you say, look, there's too much infighting going on, we need to work together more, blah, 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 you would have way more, I don't know if it'd be better or worse.
Pay it forward.
Yeah, no, it's not about paying it forward. I'm just saying, like, because war is a fucked up thing. It's like, it propels technology forward at a vast rate. To the victor go the spoils, right? So, like, Afghanistan may not have ever really won any major wars. They may have just been defending off insurgencies their whole time. It's like when you play Risk and you just can't get out of Australia because you're just stuck in there and you keep.
I always got stuck with Australia.
You have enough guys to keep everyone out, but you can't get out. But yeah, the war is like. It's bad, but it's good because, like, it brings about innovation, because that's what we do, right? We make things into a science, and so, like, now we have, like, awesome weapons, right? And so, like, if Independence Day ever happened, right, and, like, some extraterrestrials came here, who would be more equipped to deal with, like, combating them? Like, Russia and the United States, or Afghanistan, or like native peoples of Amazon.
It could be the Afghanis and the native people, because they have no technology. They can't be affected.
Yeah, because
they're all analog, baby.
Our quality of life is harder to maintain.
Big time.
Aliens are attacking us.
Big time.
Do you miss it?
What part? What?
Just being in the military? Do you miss it?
Fuck yeah, every fucking day.
Really?
Yeah, but I do and I don't. All right, I miss the good parts. I miss the bond you have between dudes, the fucking tight-knit group, the savagery, like, just, I woke up knowing I was a fucking savage every day, you know what I mean? And, like, nobody could change that, not one bit, and they still can't. But I don't want to go back, or I left because of, like, the toxic leadership, the politicalness of certain things. There's just, a lot of things that can be improved. One of the biggest things, if you guys don't mind me talking,
talk to us,
is like, so the mental health stigma in the military is one of the biggest things. So, I'm trying to go to school right now for, psychiatry. I want to become a therapist for veterans working at the VA. But one of the biggest things in the military was, if me as, like, infantryman A wants to go and get therapy from something I've seen or experienced throughout my time, I would basically, you go to mental health. So you get, it's what they call their therapist kind of section. And you get checked out. And basically, if you do exhibit, problems, or they can say, hey, maybe you can try this, SSRIs or whatever, they're going to take you off deployability, which means now I can't do my job, right? So the whole purpose of me is to go overseas and fight the enemy of our country, right? So now if I complain, or not complain, if I just speak or talk to somebody about saying, hey, this was kind of fucked up,
you
and
show
I need
a sign of
weakness,
not being ready for duty.
Yeah, they off you, and now you're basically a paper. So you're not kicked out of the military, but now you're a paper pusher. You're never going to leave, and basically you're degraded as a man in your job.
It's like shooting yourself in the foot in World War.
It's a career fucking suicide.
So this is something.
No matter what. So you go in and say you go in for one appointment, and you're off.
If it's on the books,
If it's on the books.
yeah. I
That's
mean, like,
fucked
you can pay out of pocket and go see a therapist and like pay them cash somewhere, but like
not
here's
in
the thing,
Afghanistan.
and we make less than minimum wage half the time. All these kids are 19-year-old kids. They don't make a lot of money. They don't really have the asset or the know-how to.
Yeah.
It needs to be supplied to them.
If you wanted to see a professional like that in Afghanistan, would there be any therapists available? Not saying they would speak English, but does that exist there?
Your fucking chaplain, man. Like, you can go talk to your priest, which is like, for me, who's non-religious, it's like, why, like, no offense to our priest, he was a nice guy, but it's like, I don't want to fucking talk to you, dude. Like,
I don't even know what a Muslim priest is called.
Well, no, it was a like a Catholic.
Right, but if you're an Afghani guy and you need to talk to a therapist, and Dan doesn't think they have the resources.
Afghanistan has like they have like no like health system there, and like a lot of their people are actually like mentally slow. Yeah, how you?
Yeah.
What's
So
the proper way to say
you're
that
gonna- you're
nowadays?
gonna-
That's a really shitty place to live,
Yeah.
basically.
Dude, you're gonna like this.
It's like a 70% incest rate over
very
there, or
hills
something like
have
that.
eyes.
Yeah, so it's like
God.
I don't know if that's true. Like, don't fucking really hit me on those like number facts, but like I've
that's
been
completely
told,
true.
I've been told that's like really high incest rates over there, and that's like that produces obvious issues in their development.
All right. So what you're saying is, and this is something we've talked about, so I have like a deeper understanding of like the issue, but like PTSD, it's all over the news, it's all over the media. Everybody knows about it. They're like, hey man, people are coming back from the military with PTSD and it fucks them up for a long time. And I think that people don't understand that, like, they don't really understand that they look, it's kind of like this COVID thing with 2020 when people were like, I can't wait for 2020 to be over. Like, okay, when 2021 hits, is it going to flip a switch? Is the economy all of a sudden going to go boom? Is everybody instantly going to be vaccinated? Like, no, it's going to take time and, all this other stuff. So, like, when you're in, it's not like you get out of the military and all of a sudden you have PTSD. And I've got another topic about getting out of the military that I want to talk about. And it's something that you want to shine a light on too, with like guys committing suicide and stuff. But just take a look at this, right? Like, look at our police officers, right? These are people that are like trained to handle situations, supposedly. They haven't had a great year. Sorry for the guys in blue, but hey.
Also another high suicide rate profession.
That's because they see some bad shit and the booze, right? But what it is like, if a cop is in a shooting, right? It's like, I don't know all the policies on the police, but I'm pretty sure it's like a mandatory, like, you can't show up for work until you've seen a psychiatrist and you're cleared for duty and all this other stuff. That's from one violent incident that the dude got in. When you're in Afghanistan and you're in a situation like you were telling me about, so this is a story, but basically I'll get into a bunch of the stories he's told me, but you're in a constant situation where you're in a, you're in danger. Okay. So it's not like it's, and if you get in like a firefight in like week 1 of your tour of duty, you have PTSD right now. And so now you've got like the rest of this tour to have to fill out where you have to like try to cope with these like feelings you're feeling. And a lot of the time, I guess if you're under the gun, you're like, you don't have time to deal with it. But what my man Trav is saying is that there's like no support system in-house for them at the time when they like need it, right?
Besides each other.
Right.
Each other. So it's like, I mean, that's why I have a passion to study and become a therapist, right? It's because I basically was like an in-house therapist for people, like talking to them. And I was a little older when I joined, so, I made friends with a lot of guys that are younger than me, so
24 and 19
consequently, I have
a big gap.
I have a little more life insight than they do,
time.
so I'd have to like talk to them. They trusted me and they liked me,
like
so
20% more, 25% more.
so a lot of times they would talk to me about issues and stuff like that and open up. So it's like it's like, fuck, like I wish I had a like actual help. I wish I could actually help you more than like me guessing, throwing darts at the board, saying, maybe this one will help you out a little bit, because that's what I'm fucking around with in my own brain too.
Right.
I was like
That's
experimenting, helping myself, and experimenting, helping my buddies, kind of at the same time.
Yeah. So the other thing with mental illness is that, and this is a huge stance that I've always had, right? I don't really think that anybody is qualified to help somebody else get out of that particular situation unless they've already done it. Example, my man Dan was on heroin for a while, right? Now he's not. He's been clean a long time. He lives a very productive life. We have a sweet podcast. He's wearing an awesome Cobra Kai t-shirt.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to that. But
I'm a monkey.
he knows he's been through the fire. He's been through the situation and come out the other side. And so he now has some kind of an idea how to navigate those waters, right? But like if you're like a person that has depression and you're sitting there trying to explain how you're feeling to somebody that has absolutely no idea what it's like dealing with that every day, like they're not going to be qualified to help you. And so I think like there needs to be more people that are doing what you're doing, like getting out of the military, getting into some, I'm sure there are. but getting into that kind of work because you're like qualified to sit there and help somebody that's actually been through it. You know what I mean? And that was my thought on why I think you're qualified and why I think it's good to.
He has PhDs in psychology and parapsychology.
Yeah,
it's pretty smart.
I'm a triple doctoral graduate.
The suicide thing, we've talked about this too, but like, here's what's, you've talked to me about the military. I have cousins that were in the military. I've got a couple of buddies that are special forces, so they're a little bit different because they're dealing with kind of like a higher intelligence level than I think.
It's not the intelligence style of operation, but
I don't know, but I have heard that like there's a huge. This isn't really an intelligence thing, but I've heard there's a huge intelligence gap in the military. There's like people that join up that are like college people that are smart, that are like sharp as shit, and then there's like other people that like joined up because they like had nothing going on in their life. They're like had no purpose in life, and they wanted to like be part of something, right?
So the 82nd was a weird mosh podge, right? Because the normal army is a bunch of rock eaters. They're dumb as.
A lot of Southern guys.
Love
right?
you guys, but you guys are dumb as shit.
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
A lot of Southern guys.
These are
right?
the people killing.
Yeah.
These are the people killing themselves. I think for the most part.
I know a lot of intelligent guy. I know one guy that killed himself that was very intelligent, but it takes its toll on everybody a little differently.
Right.
I would say but the 82nd was a mixture of intelligence because we had all the SF washouts, right? So you had to have that intelligence level, right, to get into the selection process. You had to take a test, an aptitude test. Yeah. And then when you washed out, you're still that smart, but now you're in the 82nd. So there's a weird mix of like rock eaters and smart people.
What did you get in your test?
Fuck, I don't know. It was one of the high. I got the high enough to go into whatever I wanted.
Okay.
I forget the actual score. It's like 118 or something like
something for like Army. Like it's really something like that.
It's a weird aptitude test. It's
really low.
Yeah. Well, to get in is you can be basically almost illiterate and get in.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. But like Air Force is a little harder, right?
They all have their threshold. Okay. I think the Marines and the Army are like lower, and then the Navy and the Air Force is a little higher because they're based off of like technical skills. Like the Army, you can do a pretty dumb job in the Army.
Right, like cook.
Yeah.
Here's what's rough about the situation.
Give it up for the 88 mics. What's up?
Who are the 88 mics?
And the truck drivers, they suck.
They do?
Yeah.
Why?
I've always just had terrible experiences with them. They're all lazy.
What, like you're in the back of like a truck bumping around with like fucking assault rifles?
I don't know. I just never see them doing anything. Like I always
sitting there greasing up their truck.
I don't know.
Getting ready to
like I have to walk everywhere, and they
don't
have these trucks. They don't take us anywhere. I'm like, what the fuck are you guys doing?
Wow. They must. It's probably nepotism. They're probably like the general's niece or.
You also can go in as an officer, right? If you go to college.
Yeah, you go to college.
That's different.
Yeah, and that's like you become an officer, so everybody's gonna make fun of you.
Sir to some dickhead.
Yeah, you have to talk to a college bro like he's fucking high class society.
All right. I know we were talking about PTSD and suicide, but I'm gonna stray away from that for a second. We can circle back. Your first time jumping out of the air into action, what's going through your mind?
Okay, so like as far as like into action as like a training exercise, I've never done it into like actual combat.
Yeah.
That hasn't happened since like 2003 or something like that.
Oh, okay. So
there hasn't been a lot of combat jumps in history. That's like very rare. It's like a last resort,
like,
you know?
Yeah, right.
You're doing that. It's like shit's like you're invading a country if that's happening.
That's true.
That's like on the ground, like we see in movies, like on the ground, you're fighting right away.
Yeah. Like our job would be to like secure a small random like airport actually, because then you can land planes, right, and you can get the normal troops in there. But my first time, what was it like jumping out into my first nighttime mass tack, which is like the mass tactical jump with a combat load. Scary as fucking shit.
I get it.
So you're like at night, right? You get like you've been sitting in a parachute harness for a couple of hours now. Your legs are asleep because you have an 80-pound bag sitting on top of your legs, plus your however heavy the parachute was, like 30, 40, maybe 50 pounds or something like that. So you got all that hanging off of you. You like penguin walk or elephant walk to the airplane, so you're just like waddling out to the airplane, trying not to trip and die. Get on the plane, you take off. Now you're sitting in the plane, bouncing all around, and then you get your call for your 5-minute, 10-minute warning. That's when shit gets real. You start thinking, oh, fuck, I actually have to get out of this goddamn thing. So, you get your
What did you think? Did you think you would be able to jump the first time?
It's just like, every time I was just like, fuck, this is like, how does anybody do this ever? Like, it was just such an impossible thing in my brain. Because you, like, look outside and you see, like, trees and houses. And it's, like, pretty easy to see it from 800 feet in the air. It's like being on just a pretty decently tall building. Yeah. So you're like, oh, fuck. And you're like, you're in a plane. Like, it's pretty fast. You get, like, sucked out the door. You're just jumping out, like, a side door of a plane. So, like, and you have to jump pretty hard to clear the door, or else you bang the door. And
Jesus.
Or you have things like if you're a towed jumper, which is your static line, the cable that's hooked up to the plane doesn't detach. And so now you're just, like, swinging on the edge of the plane, just, like, smacking the outside of the plane.
I pictured a bunch of guys playing, like, frog jump, where they jump over each other's heads.
Yeah. So then you finally get the call, the green light, right? So you're standing up, hooked up inside the aircraft, right? Holding your weight up, like dying, shifting around like you're standing, basically like you're on a boat, And you get the green light, you shuffle out to the door, you fucking just haul your body out there and pray to God. Your chute opens, you look up, and your chute opens, thank God.
Yeah.
And now,
oh my God. And did it ever not happen?
So like, fucking chute fails happen all the time.
I mean, when you were there.
All the time. I've seen them all the time.
So what happens? They have a backup?
Yeah, you pull your reserve. Hopefully that inflates, but your reserve inflates.
Never going skydiving.
Your reserve is made to inflate at 1,000 feet. Guess what you jump at? 1,000 feet. So after that,
so it
you're
just
already
helps
below.
A little bit. It helps a little bit.
It helps a little.
Dude, I couldn't even watch Avatar in IMAX 3D because of the heights that were involved in the movie. This is insane to me.
And then so then you see the ground. It's not supposed to look at the ground, because if you look, you'll reach when you're like landing. You'll see it coming towards you, and you want to stick your legs out towards it. So you got to look at the horizon. So you just like kind of smack the ground randomly, and you roll.
What?
Yeah. And so you roll it out. Now you gotta like fucking roll your chute up, put it aside, take your gun out, get all your shit ready to go, and fucking rock on.
Gravity's a fucked up thing.
But here's the biggest thing is like when you're on the ground, we're fucking running around. We're running around, or I fucking land on the ground. I'm looking around. I'm like, fuck, I'm on this fucking drop zone, right? There's like hundreds of people out here, right? I'm looking around, and now I have to find my unit, my guys, because you're all mixed up on the planes. It's not like you're with everybody. So now I have to just like stumble into the darkness to find guys that I know. And fucking, I'm asking, hey, you, blah, blah, blah. They answer back, no. Do you know where they are? No. I'm like, fuck, okay. And you're just wandering around in the darkness.
In the woods.
Finally you start linking up with dudes, and you find your main unit, and you link up with this pretty insane, just like the mass chaos that is the thing that works, that,
It seems very chaotic. You have no time to think. Like, you can't even be real. But once you get out.
What's the total time from out of the plane to I've got my gun ready, let's go?
So 40 seconds in the air, right? Slam on the ground. I'm going to say, fuck, and like roll around for a few seconds because the wind's knocked out of me, or like I'm just recollecting my shit in my brain. And then, so like maybe like 2 minutes total from out of the plane's door in the sky to the ground. Like, I mean, you can go faster. Like if I was getting shot at in real life, I'd be Johnny on the spot ripping my gun out. But like usually it's pretty secure.
Secure LZ.
Yeah, I mean, I've like almost got hit by a wild horse on the drop zone before running across and shit like that. But like,
this is all stuff that I'd be like, I can't believe this is a real thing.
Yeah,
this is why you're on the show.
Yeah.
I wanted to put people on the show that are like regular people that are in fucking crazy situations. You know what I mean? Like, that's fucking crazy, bro. You jumped out of an airplane and almost got clipped by a wild horse.
Yeah, me and my gunner jumped out.
Was this low? Time out. Was this in Afghanistan or U.S.?
Louisiana.
I was going to say, there's horses all over the place.
I think Louisiana is one of the only places where there's wild horses still. Just so happens Fort Polk, Louisiana is home to some of those herds. And so
wild horses?
There's wild horses right on the base, so we dropped in.
Horses are so valuable. I can't believe they haven't been rounded up and herded up.
I think it's just because it's on the base. They just like kind of preserve it. It's just one of the things.
That's right.
Goodbye, horses. I'd fuck me. Would you fuck me?
Oh my God.
Fuck me hard.
Jesus. He's quoting fucking Buffalo Bill. He sent me the before and after pictures of his weight loss because Dan did he's ripped right now after a huge weight increase from prednisone and lifestyle. And now he's like working out and he's ripped or whatever. But I sent him the, is it a meme? Did I send you a meme?
Yeah, it was just a meme of a guy like with his
when he's got his dick
legs.
tucked in between his legs and he's like, oh, I'd fuck me. And he's in the mirror with the dancing around with the kimono.
Would you fuck me?
So I sent that to him. And weirdly enough, his sister sent it to him too.
Yeah.
Like, what are the fucking odds of us both
Giving
going to that?
Next time I do the before and after, that's what's gonna be. It's gonna be me with my dick tucked between my legs.
Did you tell her that?
With the nightgown on,
dude, please do that. I promise. Listen, you wouldn't be the first person in your family I've got photo of with the private parts hanging out loud and proud. His bro had a picture. His bro had a picture with his hands by his sides, looking up like this, all proud. But one of his balls straight up hanging out of his pants. But he was just sitting there standing.
He used to do that to people at football.
Like his balls weren't hanging out of his pants.
Funny enough, I know a guy. This motherfucker would drop a fucking ball outside of his pants in his PT pants for our battalion or our company photo that went on the 82nd Airborne's website. So the 82nd Airborne put up this photo.
Just once or yearly?
Have you seen my tumor?
Just once. It was just once.
It is just
a long time ago into history. But yeah, it was pretty great that ended up being a thing. It's just all these little small memes that you carry along that these savage men have done that nobody has known about. It's just swept under the carpet of
boredom.
Boredom
and not being able to put things in and take things out of their
fuck.
bodies.
These guys just don't care about really much repercussion about most things.
You're living on the edge, you're gonna get blown up. All right, example.
Chris has been seeing a lot of old man's balls lately.
I have a lot. Yeah. Saw 3 of them today.
Is that Jim? Yeah.
At the Y. They were talking to me and telling me, you swim really fast, man. I'm like,
Chris just shaved his balls, too.
No, I didn't.
Well,
I don't know what that is in the garbage in there.
It's my beard, weirdo.
Oh, your beard. Oh, it's still there?
Yeah,
shit. I was going to say, I'm so disappointed.
I don't spend a lot of time here, man. All right, so you guys don't like this story because he's got some cool ones, right? I love the mortar one. Okay. So these dudes are on a forward operating base, which means essentially they've established a little safe area for them. So they've established a beachhead or a little safe area for them to operate out of in a hostile zone, though. Okay, it's not the main base that the Army has. It's a FOB. It's a forward operating base, right? And so the Afghan insurgents had taken mortar rounds, which, if you don't know what they are,
I don't.
You drop them down the tube, and they go, and then they shoot out. And
so it's it's a grenade with a propellant behind it. So
it's not super accurate.
Yeah, so you can. It's almost accurate. It's almost like a grenade launcher, right? It just kind of lobs it in.
They're very accurate. They're you adjust adjust the pitch.
Cool.
They know scientifically when you drop this thing in how far it's going to shoot out because they've tested it. So
potato gun.
Yeah. It is. So, exactly. And it's funny you brought that up because what these cats did out in Afghanistan was if they're out there actively dropping mortars at the FOB, someone in that FOB is going to either snipe them or they're going to launch a Humvee and they're going to roll out there and just fucking gun them down with 50 cal, right? So what these ingenious Afghani guys did is they'd take a tube and they'd line it with axle grease or something.
Axle grease, even thick. Food grease, pork. Well, they don't have pork actually, so that would be
so just some
kind
of thick
some
fat.
Kind of fat grease. Yeah, any kind of fatty substance. Yeah.
Well, what would happen would be that Trav, you tell a story. It's your story.
Yeah, you're good.
Am I already rolling? What do you want me to do?
You're good, man. Yeah. So no, you got it right so far. So so they line the tube with a grease, right? And so at night it's cold. The grease is thick. In the morning, the sun comes up, hits it, right? Now that sun warms that tube up, warms the grease up. All of a sudden, that heavier piece of the mortar round now can just slip down the tube and pop off. So it's like a time shot. They're not even around. They set it up and walk away, and then all of a sudden you have a mortar round coming into the base, and there's no dudes around it. There's no nothing.
It's just a random. You're minding your own fucking business. You're sitting on the base, and you hear.
Yeah,
and you're just incoming, and
holy shit!
Yeah, and
sometimes
this is where he lived, dude. You know what I'm saying?
Fire in the hole.
We get alarm sometimes, so we'd have a so a kind of wah wah wah, and you'd be like, oh shit, we got a round coming.
Did they get close?
Oh yeah, they were bracketing us, so that means they were going a little bit further, a little bit closer, a little bit further, a little bit closer,
that makes
moving
sense,
in,
actually.
slowly
trying to dial them in,
dialing us in.
It's called bracketing.
Yeah,
that's what I would think. Without even knowing the term, what you would do.
They should call it Seamus bracketing.
Yeah,
Shout out.
They'd use those, or like they'd use like Russian rockets, old Russian rockets with like an egg timer on it. So just set the egg timer, and come back to it and just shoot off randomly. But then we had a bunch of times where it was like, we saw like this dude burning trash on his roof, and every time like a round splashed inside of our fob, he'd like send out some smoke from the trash burn. Smoke signaling. So he's giving like real time accurate information back to the guys shooting. Hey, this one was right on, or this one was out, and so they were signaling.
Would they signal to say like where you guys were exiting to? Or
no, they were, well,
if like you guys are running, they're like, oh shit, they're fucking.
I don't know. Like I never got that far into like knowing their plan.
Signals.
Yeah. I don't know their Morse code smoke signals, unfortunately.
That's amazing that was an actual communication technique in human history.
Yeah.
That we were like, hey, I'm going to light a fire over here. I'm going to do some kind of thing. I don't know what they do. Douse it, open it, but they somehow control the flow of the smoke. And it gets high enough where someone far enough can see it and make out some kind of a message.
If it's not a windy day,
yeah.
Like, what the fuck do they do when it's like a gusty day and they're like, oh shit, communications are down for the battle, man. Sorry, you're in the dark.
I love the Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, when they light the beacons of Minas Tirith. And there's a dude like basically as far away as you can see on a cloudy day.
He's been waiting for generations.
Just sitting there watching.
His only job.
His only job, generations.
You think you're spending a lot of time doing nothing and jerking off? That guy's sitting out there staring at the fog, waiting for a light. And if that light goes on, it means his whole country's about to get invaded by
he's never
orcs.
Probably lit it once in his career.
Yeah.
No, they probably keep it like they probably did like a test, like, hey, our wood's like 10 years old, we got to rotate it out of the Minas Tirith beacon. Where I don't know what the procedures were, but I don't know, man.
Were the bases dry in Afghanistan, or
dry like
no alcohol?
Yeah, so
really,
my brother-in-law said it's dry in Kuwait where he was.
So yeah, at least the U.S. operates at like what the government of like the country. So like the country's a dry country, so we're not going to bring booze in, right? But that doesn't say that we just get mouthwash bottles full of booze or something like that. Where we still got shit mailed to us and could enjoy a little bit. Like everybody's worried about like, oh, if they get drunk and like do combat shit or whatever. Like nobody does that. Like when I think of like a pro football player, you're not gonna like go to the Super Bowl and be like, oh, I'm gonna get a little drunk right now. Now's the time. Nobody does that. Like we're all responsible human beings. That's not to say we smoke a little hash out there.
Okay.
Oh wait, isn't there heroin out there too?
Well, Afghan Kush comes from Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Heroin fields too, right?
Poppy fields. Yeah,
poppy
lots
fields.
of poppy fields. So like, there's like they do like najwar, which is like a dipped tobacco with a little bit of opium in it.
Ooh.
That's
I ordered poppy.
It's like a 10-90 ratio.
Yeah, I don't know what the blend is. Yeah, person to person. How much
you ordered?
I ordered
opium
poppies
they want
on
to throw
eBay.
in there.
Yeah.
It's not a
I
good
got
idea.
I got dried poppy pods on eBay, completely legal. You can make a tea with them, and I used to get messed up on them when I didn't have any crap, to use.
Well, no, that's
It worked.
That's probably healthier than taking like a fucking.
Probably you can.
Oh, for sure.
There's some grocery store hacks where you can take like there's like whippets and certain things. You can take if you get really dirty poppy seeds or just any poppy seeds. You use a ton of like packages of them. You can make a tea with that too. Like just from like the opiate alkaloids still on the actual seeds. Pretty cool.
Blue morning glory seeds. You can
That's
boil
another
them.
one too.
It's LSA,
Yeah.
which is an analog of LSD. It's not like nice. You don't want to trip that.
That's another
way.
hack.
It's a
And then there's
bad
like
time.
stupid ones. Is like what's that powder? That spice. A nutmeg.
Nutmeg.
Because then in prison, it's
Again,
not really a good one.
you don't want to do nutmeg.
No,
That's not
no.
a good time either.
But I mean, that's just yeah.
I've been told by several people on both sides of the fence in jail, like criminals and prison guards alike, that I would be fairly successful inside the can, and that they think one of my main things would be that I'd be able to like make tons of prison drugs and prison booze out of like scientific concoctions, and that people would be like, this is the guy that he can make
buy wine from him.
Yeah, they're making prison hooch out of like fruit cups and socks. And
You did that when you were a kid. You made hooch in the basement.
yeah,
I remember.
I've always liked to make my own stuff.
I was running like a shaman clinic on deployment where all the dudes would come into my room to do drugs because, well, you know, they knew I knew how to handle them when they were like that. So they're like, okay, this is a safe spot to do it. Yeah,
babysitter.
So they like come in here like to my room, take like 20 triple C's, which are like cough syrup and like pills. Just just robo-trip because we could get those at like the commissaries over there. So we just like go buy a box
What is
of
that,
triple
cortisone
C's.
cough something?
Yeah, it's not good. It's not fun. I wouldn't suggest it. Like somebody like fucking chugged a whole bottle of NyQuil, then like was like, oh, this is gross, fell asleep, which you're supposed to like keep yourself awake. That's like how you like make yourself get fucked up off of it, I'm pretty sure. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But like he fell asleep and then woke up and was like, holy fuck, I gotta shit, and like ran like, you know, had like diarrhea because he chugged a whole bottle of NyQuil. It doesn't like help your body out very well.
It's put you to sleep.
Yeah, he got a great night's sleep, you know. He's well rested the next day.
Weird dreams on whatever they're putting in there.
Fucking what? Like
when you take a NyQuil or like sleeping medicine, you have some strange dreams.
The malaria medicine they give us to take when we go over there. It gives you like fucking fever dreams. Shit's terrible. Like nobody takes it over there. Like there's been a bunch. Well, I think they cycled it out now, but the last style that they were using like made you like more susceptible to get PTSD. And then they're like, take this while you go overseas. Also, you shouldn't use it in direct sunlight or while exercising. You're like, I'm only going to be in the sun exercising. Like, what?
Wait, why is that?
It's what do you mean? Because it's just malaria pills. They dehydrate
why the
you.
sun? Oh, the sun. Okay.
Dehydrate you.
I thought it was like photosensitive.
I don't know. Maybe it is. Who
the
knows?
meds I take make me photosensitive, so I can't go in the sun at all.
Yeah.
All right, here's a question. It's risque. Oh, well, first of all, I want to respond to something. I'm a little disappointed in that you don't have awesome food on base and that you guys aren't partying when you're not on duty, because I feel like what was like Vietnam, the last cool war where people were allowed to just get fucked up all the time while they were not actively in the field.
Yeah, well, like when we were like back home, like in the U.S., oh man, I've never seen dudes party harder, be more savages at parties. But
yeah, I've seen some military guys go hard, but
yeah.
This isn't set in stone yet. I've run it by him, and he said he's going to do it, but I haven't like locked in a date. But I got a Vietnam vet that's going to come on the show, and he likes to like smoke. You know, he likes to smoke a lot of grass, and I think he told me they were snorting heroin or doing some kind of heroin when he was in Nam.
Oh, it was big.
Yeah, no, it was big, but he's like, he saw a lot of people like back then have real big problems and then get out of it. But I want you guys to be on the show together and just talk about the differences about like what life's like on deployment. You know what I mean? I think that would be a hot show. Yeah, just saying. But I want him on regardless because he's like he was in Nam. I don't think he was a light machine gunner. I think he had an M16. Yeah, I'll have to talk to him about it. He's obviously older.
So a dear friend of mine was in the Army.
Yeah, I know you're talking.
And he told me about one, they would do like training in the woods 2 weeks, like probably Mississippi or Louisiana. Mm-hmm. You do that shit?
Yeah. So like we like do a bunch of the 82nd does a bunch of training cycles. That's like, so we're like a rapid deployability unit. So like our whole point is like we're the 911 call for like America. So they keep us on a deployment up cycle constantly and like on a 2-hour recall for like you cycle through as units.
Okay.
So like if anything happens, you get called up, hey, you're boarding a plane, you can be anywhere. Most units don't do that. They have like a up cycle to train up for a deployment. They go on a deployment and then they have a down cycle to like relax and decompress. Ours was kind of just like go all the whole time.
So I have questions. We didn't really talk about boot camp very much, but like, what was it like the first day you got to boot camp? Were you just some like kid who just naive and had no clue was what you were in for, or what happened?
Yeah, I didn't know my dick from my asshole. I was so confused.
Being yelled at, like...
Yeah, you just like, I mean, it definitely like the whole point is right to make you like make everybody feel equally as like scared and worthless at the point, right? So that you're all equal. Nobody's like, I'm Mr. Big Shot, tough guy, right?
Right. They don't. If somebody's being a star, they don't tell him he's being a star.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like it's pretty frightening. It's like, you know, or at least it was. I don't know how much they've changed it, but like, you know, we got on a bus. The bus pulled up. we had dudes like shark attacking us. They're screaming at us. They're dropping like smoke rounds all around us. So like just smoke screening the whole field.
Get the fuck off the bus.
Was it like Full Metal Jacket? Like he's like, how tall are you? Holy dog shit! I didn't know they stacked shit that high.
Kind of. Well, it wasn't that verbally aggressive because they've toned that back. But like we had like machine guns and stuff shooting blanks, so it was like sound like real machine guns. Just shooting off around us, and they were screaming. So you just have like guns firing, them screaming, like a pneumatic mortar. So it sounds like a mortar round going off, like boom. So, and then we had to like grab our bags and run around a track and like, you know, do a bunch of like bullshit.
It looks like the best part of you ran down the crack your mama's ass and with the brown stain in the mattress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they basically disorient you and then
Yeah.
round you up and
And then fuck you down, baby. Yeah, they're just gonna.
You need this.
At least for us, they just like smoked us the whole time, which was like good. Like it was great. It was honestly, they said it was the easiest thing about the Army, and honestly, it was the easiest thing about the Army. You don't think
Boot camp.
They tell you everything you're doing for the whole time. When you're sleeping, you're sleeping. When you're awake, they're shouting at you to do things.
When you're on patrol out in Afghanistan, you're 100% shitting your pants the whole time, waiting to catch a stray round, waiting to see an IED.
Sometimes you're tired and saying,
Exhaustion.
"Fuck, this is bullshit. This is hot. I don't want to be standing here." Oh, why don't
You see
we
any
go
wildlife
back?
out there?
Out there, some birds, some birds. A mouse ate like a bunch of my snacks in my ruck one time. I was super pissed at that.
Are the Appalachian Mountains out there? Are there any mountain ranges out there?
Appalachian Mountains.
Sure, that's a U.S. base.
Yeah.
No, not the Appalachian, what is it called? The Himalayas.
So there,
Southeast of Afghanistan.
yeah, there's mountains out there,
So
but
there's
it's like
those cats. What are they called? The snow leopards. So I think they're out there too.
Afghanistan's really rocky. It's not
Rare.
like a desert. It's like the rocky part of Tatooine that the Jawas live in.
except like gray.
there's different parts, you know. There's like northern and southern. So like southern, where I was at, I was in like around Kaf area, which is Kandahar. Like it's like fucking like if Satan dragged his claws through the valley, right? It's just like ripped up red mark, like a red rock, like kind of like Mars, right?
Are there like
barren.
convenience stores and gas stations? Like, what is there out there for civilization?
Yeah, there's markets and shit.
Certain
Like so we weren't supposed to, but we used to run up on this place all the time and like fucking we pay with American dollars for energy drinks. We'd like just go up to this fucking little mark and get these fucking energy drinks. They were called ginseng. I don't know. They're just like a generic ginseng label. And boy, did those things, they had like 2,000 fucking milligrams of taurine. Shit would jack you the fuck up. Yeah, we love those things.
You were alert.
when my friend went and he came back so he did his military, you know, the training, and then he came back on break, and it was like, what the fuck? Because he was an animal. Like we
Came back beast.
We were thinking that we drank a lot of beers, but then he would come home and be like, "This is."
Oh yeah, he had a
shit.
big drinking problem. Yeah.
And
He was dealing with a lot of emotional issues from combat.
Yeah, but it was like it. You know, it was obviously we were excited, but how was that part for you?
So, I used to drink heavily. Like when I was in the military, I would near the tail end, like when we were like kind of like in our low points from like depression, doing some bad drinking habits. Like I'd get up and start driving to work at like 4:30 in the morning, and I'd start hammering down like a 32 ounce twisted tea, baby. All right, nothing gets you jacked up for PT like one of those bad boys. Then we'd like exercise. Then I'd go on my breakfast break, start drinking again. And we just drank all day. And the worst part is like our leadership was chill with it too, because they drank too.
Yeah, right.
So everybody kind of just did it all day long. So
Wow.
I have a question. I can't believe I've never asked you this.
yeah.
This is a perfect time. What the hell are we still doing over there? Do they have any? First of all, do they have any oil? Do they have any oil?
So yeah, okay. Here's
Do
a
they
big
have any
question.
oil?
Why the fuck are we in Afghanistan? Right?
No. Do they have any oil?
No, of
Question
course they
one.
don't have
So
any
they got
oil.
no oil.
They don't have shit, right?
Here's what they
The
got.
poppy fields, they're selling their poppy to the big pharmacies companies like Merca and stuff. So that's not the problem, right? So what is it? Terrorism was like 20 years ago.
This is what our next war is going to be fought over. China's already gripping at
rare earth minerals.
Rare earth minerals.
Rare
China's already
earth
gripping at
minerals.
like northern Africa and African countries for this.
God Gotcha. Yeah, South America too.
Yeah.
Season 2 of Jack Ryan. Was
So it's like Afghanistan sitting on a shitload of minerals.
Good.
They don't have the infrastructure to mine it, right? So there's nothing being touched.
Classic
it's just sitting
story.
there. So we're trying to stabilize the. I mean, this is coming from my mouth, not like somebody who knows mouth. I'm just giving my opinion. Yeah. But we're trying to stabilize the country so that we can then make ties with the government to say, hey, you're going to trade these rare earth minerals with us because we stabilize your country and allowed you to have now, some kind of profit coming in.
Yeah,
It's all a bunch of bullshit.
No, it's a big problem because what happens is like, all right, you know what rare earth minerals are? Like, do you know why they're important?
Yeah, I assume so. Yeah, I mean,
I'm not talking like gold and shit like that. I'm talking certain
like stuff for cell phones and shit.
bingo.
Yeah.
Computer
Bingo.
chips.
High tech stuff, like especially the shit that runs like the military's weapon systems and stuff, like BAE and Raytheon and these other guys. They've got all kinds of shit that they use this stuff for. But anyway, so this country like Afghanistan doesn't have any dough, right? They got no money, they've got no equipment, they got shit, but they're sitting on this valuable stuff. So it's the same old story. It's just a matter of time before somebody with a club comes over and nails them and takes their shit, or somebody with guns or an invading army, right? It's like the movie Avatar, right? They had this element that the humans wanted, but their village or tree or whatever was right over it. That's what's going on with Afghanistan. So what happens is either a country who's being controlled by a big corporation or just the big corporation itself will go into Afghanistan and be like, yo, I'm going to give you, I don't know, $200 billion, but I want exclusive mining rights to your rare earth minerals. I'll also give you 900 AK-47s, a couple of, I have some Russian contacts. They're going to drop this shit off in a week, but don't worry, you'll get it. So they give them weapons, they give them equipment, they give them shit, but they own them. They run the shit. So now this corporation squeezes all the resources out of this place, whereas like, if they were smart, that government would say, nope, nobody's coming in here. We own these rare earth minerals. We're going to trade them. Our people are going to mine them. We're going to create the jobs. But they don't have what it takes to do that.
I don't even know.
Don't they take over countries that way now rather than use war or military?
Yeah.
They do it by making
Moolah.
the country owe them.
Moolah.
Yes.
Basically.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's crazy. So how about prostitution?
Oh, I love it.
Prostitution over
Like,
there.
did you see any Afghani
I'm all for it.
prostitutes? Any
Yeah.
Afghani prostitutes?
So no, and that's like no.
It's not like Vietnam, right?
No, because I mean, like all the dudes on not fobs, all the dudes on like big bases, like basically could just get laid by like other military girls
Well, the girls
on
must
the
be
base.
giant sluts in the base.
Yeah.
All right, no, they not okay.
They enjoy their life.
Some are real cool girls, and some are like
Well, it must be
regular-
hard
it's
being a
across
chick
the
on the
board.
base.
Right.
You know,
Oh.
I say when I use the word slut, that's a leftover thing from like the early 2000s. I more just
Toxic
mean that like
masculinity.
yeah, I just mean that like it's got to be tough to be a woman there, and like guys are animals, and I mean some girls just probably succumb to it. That's all.
Women have needs as well.
They
So
feel
you can
the
call
same
women
things.
prostitutes, but you can't
I-
because they're working girls. But the minute I say sluts, you guys are like, oh Jesus Christ!
Whoa, time out. Now that you've called this out, I have to say this, okay?
ahead.
First of all, I didn't say anything derogatory about prostitutes. I think they're awesome people, and I
That's
love
what
them.
I'm saying.
Secondly,
Me too.
But that's okay. If somebody pays
I-
for
Their
it.
choice.
Secondly, yeah, if it's by choice, if it's not some shitty sex slave bullshit. But secondly, like the Bunny Ranch out in Vegas, that's awesome. I'm glad we have those things.
Yeah, little guys like
Like
Eric the Midget on the Howard Stern show went out there.
And the girls that have their own like webcams and whatever, they have like fans only or whatever. I don't know what it is, but I've heard of it.
OnlyFans.
Well, I've never seen it, but I know what it is. It's like you have to pay to watch them do stuff, and you can like send them requests and they'll do it. And a lot of them will even bang you if you pay them enough money, like 10, 20 grand, like 100 grand. I don't know, whatever it is. It depends on the girls, but a lot of these chicks are like rock stars is what I'm saying. They're not like being exploited by the industry. But what I will say is that I pioneered the movement of snuffing those words out of the male
I
vocabulary.
don't like the word either. It just slipped out of my mouth.
I
don't
want
like that word.
you want to positively reinforce girls when they do awesome sexual stuff to you, right? Like,
Yeah, but it's not so much. So it's not so good for them to be the girl who sleeps with everybody.
well, that's because we still live in a male-dominated society where we
Society
paint them with that
yeah.
brush. Like I have a daughter,
Framed it
and
that
she
way.
comes, what like people say to me all the time, like, what are you going to do when your daughter gets older? I'm like, whatever, dude. She's already almost old enough. Number one, and number two, like, she's a fucking human being, man. I trust her to make decisions and live her own life, you know. And like, but what I do know about women from my own research, and it is my life's work, Trav. At least part of it, I think, is the study of the dance between male and female and how to set it all up. But you know, they feel the same way we do. The longer they go without putting things in and taking things out of their body, they freak out and they need it too. So it's just like, whatever.
I get that. I just think that it's such an insulated environment. I don't know. It
oh yeah,
that's all. It's like a psychology experiment. You have a bunch of these dudes who are jacking off all over the place, and like women are scattered through it.
I have a military story that's the reverse of that. My papuli, my grandfather, was in World War II, and he had a shitty assignment. He was a medic, and he was on a medical frigate where they transported the wounded and the dying from Europe or wherever back to stateside. And if you did this for like whatever, 6 months, a year, whatever the fuck it was, they were like, okay, now you get to pick wherever you want to go. You want to go to Honolulu? That was like the spot, right? So my grandfather could have gone to Honolulu, Hawaii, but instead he went to this base down south where there were like 3,000 babes, chicks, awesome women, beautiful, beautiful women. Type in the dear this and that family, your son got his head blown off in fucking Zemini by the fucking really? Zemins. But he did it saving his platoon, yada, yada, yada. We love you. You know, like at Saving Private Ryan, they show that room with all the typewriters. That's how they did it, right? So my grandfather was part of the male contingent that worked on this base, but it was something like 200 dudes and like 1,000 women.
Those are great odds.
Yeah, so he told me...
Fish in a barrel.
Like, when your 90-year-old grandfather wants to tell you that, like, he had a lot of ass when he was younger, he says, I had a date every breakfast, lunch, and dinner back then. You know, he's, like, trying to water it down. But what he's saying is, like, he woke up in the rack with some chick that he banged, and then, like, he had another one ready for lunch and dinner because it was, like, you know, World War II. Everyone was dying. People were going nuts. They were in full-blown, we got to make baby mode, you know, like, just... Cycle. I don't have to tell you. You're in school for psychology, right? There's something going on there, right?
Yeah. No. Yeah.
The herd is dwindling, and people are like, "Oh shit, better squeeze out."
Hey, do you know why Pavlov's hair was so shiny?
Why?
Because he conditioned it.
Ooh, Dan, I was a little. I was half full of Diet Pepsi, but also I was a fraction of a second behind.
Yeah.
Pavlov's dog
that's my best work.
He conditioned his hair. I'm like, what the fuck? Oh, gotcha. He conditioned it. Yeah. Conditioning's
I'll be here all night.
Yeah, not really. You're usually
not usually. Yeah, 9 o'clock.
What's the wildest shit you did like with your guys, like party wise?
Party wise,
you want to tell? I guess
that you remember.
What's the wildest shit? Fuck, I don't know. Like
you guys drop acid and like.
I was gonna say sometimes we used to drop acid at my fucking place, and we'd like just get fucking crazy. We'd like my buddy had like a quad stacked like amp, and we'd just drag it. I lived out like in some farm field, so we'd just drag it onto my garage and just start like playing like Hendrix, ripping, like echoing across the farm fields. Then like once it got late enough, usually we loaded up some shotguns with like so funny thing, kids, if you take a 12 gauge shotgun shell, cut the top off of it, empty the bird shot out, because you know you don't need to use buck or anything expensive. Sure. And just stick a chem light, which is like a glow stick, right on top of it.
Oh, it'll fire perfect.
You can just shoot it straight out of a shotgun.
Looks like a laser.
And then you just got a laser beam shooting out your shotgun at night. Yeah, so we just get high on acid and just shoot glow sticks across our farm field, with shotguns.
They don't like they don't. You know, that explosion, the violence of it doesn't like crack the plastic, or does it? Just the gas forces it out.
Yeah, kind of like some of them would have cracks and like leave like little predator blood like trails across the farm field, But like other than that, like we'd just be lobbing those bad boys out.
That's fine.
Sorry, I hit my head.
Yeah, it happens. I do it all the time, actually.
I'm a fucking idiot.
I mean, there's been plenty of like crazy party stories. It's like. Yeah.
My friend said that they used to wear their helmet and break bottles over their heads.
Break bottles, yeah. At least,
I have an army helmet.
Like jackass shit.
I have an army helmet. It's hardcore. That's it. It's very heavy duty.
Yeah, helmets are like they're like a pretend safety thing.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
bullets actually can rip through them.
How though? They're so thick and.
Because they're like it's like I forget what the actual ballistic rating is, but it's basically like 7.62 armor AP, like armor piercing up. Like hopefully it deflects it, which is like the point of the curve. Other than that, like if
You're
it
telling
hits
me
it,
your helmet can deflect or stop an AP 7.62 round?
Yeah.
Wow.
But
it's better than nothing.
But
kind of defeats the armor piercing part in my book.
Well, because it's
armor is not being pierced by the round.
Yeah, armor piercing's to a point, right?
No, I hear you.
On the ballistics value of
It'll
it.
go
but
through Kevlar.
Certain, yeah, well, like soft Kevlar. Oh, yeah, an AP round will rip through like soft ballistics.
So you've heard me talk about it before. Trav and I might start up our own private military company when Akira goes to college. And
what do you mean?
when my dog dies and my kid goes to college, I'm all alone. I'm just sitting here left alone with this hollow feeling in my heart. I'm gonna be like, what do I do now, man? My dog's dead. My kid's in school. So, this dude's going to be graduating college, so he needs to work and make, his practice or whatever. But when we're, once in a while we want to run some ops overseas, like in Africa, make sure that people get their, food drops and that the warlords don't hoard them, and then the AIDS meds and stuff, anti-piracy.
Rare earth minerals.
We want to, I'm not going to guard any rare earth minerals, maybe, but I would do the boat thing. I would do the Somali pirates. That sounds like an easier job, and I do like the ocean. But we want to do stuff like that. But I am having a fun time talking about fun stuff. But I wanted to talk about the getting back to something you're going through right now. So you go to the military, and we had a buddy, Eddie, right? He interestingly enough, he was delivering pizzas, which is technically working at a restaurant, right? And he was doing it into his 20s. And he was just I don't think he went to college. If he did, it was after the military. He might have taken a few classes at the beginning, dropped out, whatever. I don't know his fucking his whole repertoire, but he just felt like he needed a new direction in his life, right? He felt like basically he was he was a really popular kid in town, so he's not like a great example. But a lot of these people that join up, they're kind of like they're not going anywhere. They've got no compass. They've got no direction. It's not that they don't have goals, because they obviously join the military to try to improve themselves, right? But what I'm saying is, we live in this shit society where everyone's looking at you and judging you, and what do you drive, and how much money do you make, and what do you produce, and blah blah blah. And so,
how big's your house?
Yeah, so when a dude that has a beat up Honda Civic and is working 2 jobs to live in a crappy apartment or something like that, when he joins the society looks at that guy and just basically either doesn't look at him or shits on him, right? They're either too good and they don't look at him, or they shit on him. And so these people are used to being, and they're not nobody, I'm just saying they're used to being treated like nobody, right? And then they get in the military. Now all of a sudden they're part of something, and they're not only part of something, they're part of something big, and it's like a brotherhood or a sisterhood or whatever. It's a fucking family. And not only that, but you're in public places now wearing uniform, and people that used to walk by and they wouldn't give you the fucking time of day will shake your hand and be like, hey, thank you for your service. And so it's kind of like being a celebrity, because you're walking around minding your own business, and strangers are coming up to you and giving you this positive.
They'll give you the seat in the plane.
Yes, they're giving you this positive.
Free drinks.
They're giving you this positive, approving, hey, you're this awesome person that I really appreciate what you're doing, and I want to do something for you, right? But the only reason they're doing it is because you're wearing this uniform and you're part of something.
Yeah, that happens with Stolen Valor. Have you ever seen those videos?
Yeah.
People wear these things, and but they don't do enough
research about
That's
themselves.
terrible.
They don't do enough. You got to be some loser to wear stuff like that. But they don't do enough research on it. So the minute a real military guy asks them questions, they break down in 2 seconds. If I did Stolen Valor, I would research it so much that I'd have a story for everything, every deployment I was
think
on.
A lot of them have pretty detailed. They're
some do, but some of them just have a Purple Heart in their sleeve, and they're trying to get free drinks.
There used to be a dude that worked at the restaurant who had super detailed stories about being in Nam, and he wasn't even old enough to be in Nam. But anyway, but these dudes, they get in the military. Now they're all of a sudden they have this kind of celebrity status in society, right? Shit. if you're on a social media website and you've got a picture of you in regular clothes, civvies they call them, and you've got a picture of you in uniform, you're gonna get way more girls or that like thumbs you up, and dudes that are like, "Hey, good job, bro. Look good looking out." You know, just positive reinforcement. And it's all because you're doing this. You're part of this thing. Now all of a sudden your tour's up, 4 years, whatever. It even happens to 20-year people.
You can stay though, can't you? Like,
But I'm saying a lot of them do the 4, and you get this thing like what happens with Olympic athletes, where like they've spent this whole huge portion of time and energy focusing on this one thing to achieve it, and now that it's over, they're like, "Fuck, what do I do with myself? Who am I?" Like Derek Zoolander, like, "Who am I, God?" You know what I mean? So like, you know, a lot of these guys are they get out of the military, and they like our buddy got some kind of electrical licensing skill set that he learned, right? So you're like, you do your service and you come out with a skill, and you're supposed to get a gig. But right now, because of like COVID, there's no gigs. So there's this massive amount of people getting out of the service. They don't have a fucking job to go to, even though they learned this new skill. Now they're not wearing the uniform, so people are just walking by them again and not giving them fucking the time of day. And so it's got to be a huge psychological swing to go from being like, to feel that like popularity and then go to like just being nobody again, you know, just blending in with the sheep, you know?
So like identity with that, like, yeah, it's definitely a big shift, right? So it's like, yeah, I mean, like when you're in the military, you hate that shit. You hate like, "Oh, thank you for your service," all that. Well, I mean, I'm sure there's some people that get off on it, you know, but like,
no paparazzi.
But yeah, for the most part, dudes don't really like having people come up to them like that, because we're just like, it's a fucking job. I don't want, like, I'm trying to get off work, you know, don't talk to me right now. But yeah, like all of a sudden you're like, right, you're part of this bigger machine. You're part of this it's bigger than you. Like, I mean, it's so big that, right, you're willing to sacrifice your life for it, right? Like I was full 100% willing to sacrifice my life so that maybe my buddy lived, so that the mission goes on, right? Like that was like
full commitment.
Full commitment. Your whole hog in.
Whole hog in.
So,
oh boy, that's
like that.
Way cooler. That's a southern way of, you pick that up in the South. That's a southern way of saying balls deep.
That's the title of this episode.
The title of this episode is Whole Hog In. Yeah. How about I was going to put "You're in the Army Now." You want to call it "Whole Hog In"? You're in the Army now.
Yeah, "You're on the Army Now" is oh man, I don't know if I like that. It's too hooah for me. But
it's too regular.
Yeah, no, it's too hooah, man. It's too like hyper Army.
Whole Hog In.
Yeah,
a deep dive interview with Paratrooper Specialist Travis. All right, Whole Hog In. Tagging. I second that notion.
Oh shit! What the fuck was I just saying?
We're talking about the swing getting out of the
okay, yeah. So
job.
So now you're out, like, right. And some of my buddies are like forklift drivers now and stuff. Like, all the power to them. I love them, and that's still a good job. Like, they're making money, they're getting their shit done. But
no one's giving them high fives.
But exactly, that's the thing. Nobody's like saying,
no one's giving up
shit.
Their seats and their parking spots.
Yeah, and like, I'm not saying like veterans, we get like pretty decent benefits. I mean, yeah, the VA fucking sucks, so our healthcare sucks. That's rough, the fucking a lot of the issues suck with it, but at the same time, it does. We do get a lot of benefits, so it's like you can't sit here and bitch and complain the whole way, you know. So we do have some things that are nice that benefit us, but for the most part, it's hard to like live life and be like, you know, these motherfuckers like. Like knowing that, like, you know, like I know dudes that did some heroic ass shit, right? But like nobody will really like know that shit. Like these people don't really understand that. Like I actually, when I came back from deployment, it was weird. Like I had like one of my buddies asked, like, is there even a war still going on over there? I was like,
that's true.
Well, like, and I'm like, fuck, like, you know,
that's why
I had like buddies die on my deployment, so it's like for me, oh yeah, there's definitely a war going on over there. It's and now not
a declared war though, but there's
conflict.
Yeah, it's conflict. Exactly, it's armed conflict. So it's like it's just weird of like because it's become so normalized of a thing over there that like the general public here almost doesn't pay attention to it at all, which like. I mean, you should slightly just to be like, hey, I'm against this. Right. You know, like I'm not pro the Afghan war, even though I'm a soldier. It's like it's it's a stupid war. We shouldn't be there anymore. We need to like get the fuck out of that area.
Well, yeah. Now you question what it's really. Why are we really there?
Yeah.
It brings those questions up for people, and especially people that are doing it. and dying.
So at the end of the day, right, like World War II, you're like, for America, we got to stop the Nazis. Like, that was your fucking champ call. It was important, exactly.
Uncle Sam wants you.
But now, it's like, you're fighting for your buddy next to you, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm fighting for my homeboy next door, like, right next to me, but I'm not fighting for, like, as weird as it is, I'm not really fighting for America, because this isn't America's war. If I die, America's not going to collapse, you know? Like,
yeah, it's not a freedom. It's not a fight for freedom.
Yeah, exactly.
It's you know, they use the terrorism as like a you know, wedge to get in there and get their other things going.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
This all feels like
9/11.
9/11. It all feels like
Started then.
that's 20
Yeah.
years ago, and it all feels like it's still.
it's all part of a big agenda, bro. It's all part of the big corporation's vision. They knew they needed it. They had already had satellites scoping the earth, figuring out where these locations. Then they whisper into a senator's ear, "Hey, we need this. We're going to need a mass weapons of mass destruction."
What does America make anymore, right? We make military equipment. That's what the fuck we make.
Big time.
Like, that's really the biggest industry in America.
Some sweet cars.
Some sweet cars, but it's like even the car companies make military equipment, man. You know what I mean? Like, so everybody's kind of tied into the industrial military complex. It's like this thing that we're supporting through these regime
It's the war machine.
We make
wars.
medicines. We make pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
Pharmaceutical.
Chemicals.
Information.
Yeah.
And those are used for various reasons.
air.
You can weaponize
we make
that.
love.
You know, yeah.
Gloves. My buddy's got a glove
No,
empire.
I said love. We make love.
Oh, love. Yeah,
Like
yeah, okay.
fucking.
Yeah.
You need a
We
glove
fuck.
when you love, too.
So, Matt, the difference between like Nam, though, like, you know, this guy Jack, that's his name, he was in Nam. Those motherfuckers got drafted out of high school. They got a letter like, "Hey,
They were just kids.
thanks for being an American. Guess what? You're going to Nam." And so now all of a sudden you're like, you know, hey, there are people out there that feel the call of duty, right? They like feel patriotic. Like me, I'm a citizen of the world, okay? I consider the entire planet Earth my people. Asian, black, white, brown, sideways vaginas, straight up and down, whatever you want. I'll put my face in it, okay?
For the star-shaped one?
Yes, anything. If an extraterrestrial came down from space and was like, they had the anatomy that somehow worked out with mine, I would mate with it, you know? So, like, I'm an equal opportunity lover, and, like, the whole earth is my people. That's how I look at it, okay? And I don't like nationalism. So I've never felt, like, a need to, like, be part of this national thing, right? When I see people that have, like, the flag in their driveway, I actually stop and think to myself, like, this person felt patriotic enough where they dug a hole, put some concrete, erected a flag, spent the money to do it, and they're hanging the American flag out in the front.
And nothing made people more patriotic than 9/11.
Oh, yeah, but what I'm saying is these dudes in Nam, they get drafted, so they don't even want to be there, but they legally have to, or they get thrown in the can, or whatever. Muhammad Ali had to flee the country at one point, right? That's the deal. And when
Go
I'm
to
talking,
college.
I'm talking about what's known in the Army as rotating back to the world, right? And so, like, these cats are fighting in Nam, which was a fucking vicious firefight war. All kinds of new shit was hitting the playground. You know, the jungle warfare itself had never really been a problem for them. And all of a sudden, these guys come back to the world, and they're facing the same kind of trials and tribulations you guys are. They need to find a job. They need to do this, and they need to do that. But at the same time, there's this huge civil rights hippie movement going berserk, calling them baby killers, spitting at them, yelling at them. So they got the opposite of the celebrity treatment. They got treated like shit, and they didn't even want to fucking be there.
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
Yeah.
It is fucked
Let
up.
me be the first to say I would never want to fight in jungle warfare like that. That shit fucking
being in the jungle is difficult.
sucks. Yeah.
Humid as fuck.
Not
Everything wants
fun.
to kill you or is poisonous or give you a rash.
But like, yeah, it's like very much, you know, these guys got exactly that. They got like kind of treated like they were the worst people ever, and they were just like supporting the country. The weird part about nationalism is like I love this country, right? And like I
do too.
and
It's a
I
cool
love
place.
the flag. I love all of that, but I'm
Cheeseburgers.
against like I guess the things that
We do.
you know are driving the parties apart, right? So it's like the bad parts of the nationalism you don't like, right? You don't like the fucking the party systems or something like that, or like racism in general, like systematic racism, stuff like that. Like that's all things that are in place under like the ideas of the flag, right? They identify under. I don't know.
I agree.
Spitballing here.
It's a lot of stuff.
I think you make a great point because I love this country too, and I think that, to question my country and the direction we're going is about, like, if you love a person, it's not like you're not going to fight with them or disagree. You say, I don't like this. I want to change it. And that's love for country to me. It's not just blindly fucking follow it. And
got a lot of moving
You know
parts.
what we were saying about Vietnam? Imagine fighting in the jungle against people who know that jungle so well. No wonder they fucked us up over there.
They dug an interconnected series of tunnels, bro.
It's like me going in with a spear trying to fight Amazon people, like native people. They'd fuck me up.
Yeah, except they had Hueys with fucking
Yeah, there'd be a
machine guns
There'd be a blow
mounted.
dart in my neck.
Like,
dropping
don't get us
napalm.
wrong. We demolished them as far as
true.
casualty numbers wise, but
Yeah, but
it cost us too.
Yeah.
It was bad on both sides.
there's secret things that happened, like bombing of Cambodia.
Oh yeah,
that's why Cambodians are in. That's why Khmer Rouge happened, and why
You're saying
they're
the US.
here.
You're saying the US kicked that ball off.
Yeah.
so that's
I don't know. That's shocking that I don't know.
absolutely. There's a lot of things like that we.
My kids have Khmer.
Us
so.
or Russia, whatever
or
you
Russia,
want to say.
right.
It's like one of those two people, basically. If you look back
Commies
at
of
like
the
a collapsing state or something
Yeah.
like in the past, it's basically connected to one or the other. Somebody's had somebody like fishing around in the area, getting their hands in the fucking
So
cookie jar.
you have a really interesting idea for world government that I like, and it's right up my alley.
I didn't know that was that.
You do. We were talking about it one night. We were working, and I was saying how that there are a lot of different models of government that are out there, and how they basically all are never going to be perfect. We've got capitalism, democracy. Is capitalism a form of government at this point, or is it a form of running the government, the economy? But really, I feel like capitalism is it's taken over democracy,
Yes.
basically. Right. But we have democracy. There's communism. There's fascism. There's kings and queens, socialism. I'm just saying, there's a lot of isms out there, right?
Monarchy, yep.
Authoritarian.
And what T-Bird said one day was one we haven't tried, and
Wait, pause. Who's T-Bird?
This guy right here,
All right,
T-Bird.
you haven't. I know that, but you haven't called him that yet.
I call him T-Bird all the time.
Okay.
He thinks we haven't tried anarchy yet, and I said anarchy sounds right up my alley, but it also sounds like way less stable than what we're dealing with right now. Because I think there should be a world government.
That's
and
fucking
a world
punk rock.
currency. He thinks, and I don't like big government, but I think there should be a world government that has oversight over distribution of the valuable resources and where they're needed most. And it's hard to say, right? Instead of blowing each other up and fighting over stuff with guns, let's just do some science, figure out what would be the most efficient way to run everything, ask everybody what they need, what they want, and see if we, the Ferengi, they like to trade with each other.
That's exactly like anarchy is kind of based off
Yes.
of surpluses here and diffidences here, but surpluses of other things, interconnected trade, and then localized government.
And there needs to be some kind of peacekeeping, but
I hear anarchy and I just think smashing shit like the Sex Pistols.
Well, yeah, and that's why nobody takes it seriously.
I think
ever.
Mad
But if you
Max.
think fundamentally there. Well, there's been experiments in the past that the bunch of hippies have done a
commune.
Is it the rainbow something? I forget what the hell it is, but they get together every year and they come together as a community and set up an anarchistic society basically for a week. And it's kind of a little get together, play date in the woods. I don't know. Yeah. But the ideas and concepts are really nice. The way they how they intermingle and how they trade and how they interact with each other because they do it and they get together. So basically if you're township, right? Our town had an excess of money, right? Instead of just having this one dude giving it out, doing all this shit, you get together, get your elders, and you say, we have this much money. Now we can pool this together, and what should we do with this? And you can allocate it together, but it's basically a huge communal thing. And, the people are just leaders from each small area of the community. So it's, a lot more interwoven than,
I would love that to be the case.
Big government telling you what to do and trickle down from the top.
Do you
It's
not
the
have
opposite
currency,
from
though?
the bottom.
Yeah.
There's currency. Yeah, you can have currency.
Like, so you can still buy shit.
Yeah,
I like to buy shit.
You can still. It still can be an actual.
Global,
it's a form.
a global currency.
Yeah, it's a form of government, right? Anarchy is still like a form of government, so it's not like no government. It's just it's less government, right? So they're not. It's less big government, and it's more localized, like tribal almost government, and not in a bad tribal like Afghan tribe war way, but tribal as in like. People get
we are
an
the
opinion,
world,
right?
Yeah,
You yourself as a local individual has way more of an opinion in that way.
Yeah, we could go on and on about what is tearing the country apart and what's tearing the world apart. I don't know. It's there are a lot of issues there. I'm unfortunately I don't watch the news enough to keep up educatedly with them. But my problem with anarchy is like, it seems like human nature just favors like. Somebody with a bunch of guns and weapons showing up and taking over when someone else has a surplus, and then like sooner or later someone's going to say, you know what, fuck you, I quit, I'm out. And a lot of people right now are worried about like, you know, states seceding from the union, right? I don't see it happening because like the division in our country isn't like, it's not like north and south and like east to west. It's like fucking neighbor to neighbor, right? You got one guy across the street that's like, Trump's the fucking only solution to the whole United States problems,
Best
right?
economy ever.
And then you've got and
Yeah.
then you've got like easy killer, and then you've got like people across the street, and they've got like this bigger sign that's like Biden. I saw bumper stickers like "Dump Trump" and all this other stuff.
Riding with Biden.
Riding with Biden, dump Trump. That's what it said. And
They're all a bunch of sick fucks, though, aren't they?
And so and they're all like
Trump likes to be peed on, and Biden likes to smell little girls' hair.
I don't know. I don't know what the solution is. It's tough to. I don't know how they run the fucking states. Never mind the country. Never mind how you set up a global economy.
Solution is just get rid of. We'll put term limits on every cabinet. No more career political politicians. Like politicians that have been there forever are gonna always like. Prop up the institution that they're being supported by.
Those are the ones that are hiding aliens, too.
Yeah, probably.
It's not the people that are in there for 4 years.
It's the CIA guy.
It's the ones that are deep government that are telling the president, oh, there's no UFOs.
Totally.
Actually, my bizarre beyond belief story has something to do with that.
Oh, man, I didn't even know if we have time, but I mean...
It's real quick.
Let's spit it out.
Real quick, okay.
Let's get into it. Well, we have all the time in the world. I'll go all night if you guys want.
U.S. intelligence... Okay. When President Donald Trump signed the $2.3 trillion coronavirus relief and government funding bill into law in December, so began the 180-day countdown for U.S. intelligence agencies to tell Congress what they know about UFOs.
Which intelligence agencies?
Well, the Director of National Intelligence and the Secretary of Defense have a little less than 6 months now to provide the Congressional Intelligence and Armed Services Committees with an unclassified report about unidentified aerial phenomena.
All right, here's my thing. How do they know we've got all the records? What if they just give you like what if this whole notebook in my hand is all the records?
There's no oversight,
and they give you this piece of paper and they're like, "Here's what we got."
Well,
you couldn't find anything.
You asked for it.
Even at that, here's how the CIA and FBI releases documents too. They scrub them. So you're gonna get a document with maybe like a photo, maybe some typing on it, mostly like black.
They just released
these black bars.
Redacted. The CIA just released all their alien documents, but apparently there's so many of them, and there's no search function at all. So they're gonna have to sift through them, and somebody's gonna have to like catalog them and stuff.
And here's the other thing too: I'm sure there's not like we talked to these aliens. It's just
no,
it's like we saw this.
There was
at
a sighting
this
at this time. Yep,
it did this.
That doesn't mean, so that's mean you have to go through like 99.9% of them are gonna be like there was a sighting here, stuff like that. Or it was like swamp gas.
You're awake right now. 5-10 minutes ago,
I was
about to shoot you with some smelling salts or something. And now you're like, aliens came up and boom. So we got poop, pee, sex,
boners.
That's what gets Dan going.
You talk about government, and I'm like,
you guys want to talk about like serious social issues? You'll hear like a. What was that? Well, Dan passed out. His head hit the fucking table. But you want to talk about Bigfoot, buddy? Oh, hey, boner.
Hey, Bigfoot is real, by the way.
Hey, you're talking to the right guy.
I could go through every reason why Bigfoot is real.
You're talking to the right guy.
Any man who has spent women can spend plenty of time in the woods as well. Sorry, I did not mean to be such a woman hater. But
I already called women sluts tonight.
You're right. way to make me feel.
Pretty sure 99% of the audience is male, so it's probably all right.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna care.
But yeah,
Sorry,
like
lady.
fucking, like I got a lot of military buddies that got a lot of Bigfoot stories. There's like
Really?
lots of fucking weird like things that you spend enough time in the woods.
Oh my
Weird stuff
God.
happens.
I just blew my load.
In Louisiana, you spent a lot of time in the swamps.
Swamps. Louisiana was weird, but that was mostly like spiders and hating my own life for being up for like 3 days straight.
There's
But,
a swamp ape down in Florida too. He's stinky.
Yeah, but like North Carolina, like
Dude,
out in
smell.
some like dense woods, like my buddy,
Look at that.
my buddy had a story about like him being like fucking just kind of it's called the Starlight course, which is like your land nabbing, so your land navigation for special forces selection. So this dude's kind of like just wandering in the middle of fucking nowhere, trying to find a burning barrel of wood in the forest so he can get his next point to go off to.
Checkpoint.
Yeah. And he
Rally point.
stopped to take a piss, and like you're not supposed to talk to each other when you're in this course because, like, obviously, like you get kicked out if an instructor sees you talking to a candidate. It's cheating. So he's fucking taking a piss, rocking a piss, and here's like a thud, and he's like looking around. He kind of calls out to me. He's like, "Hey," asking if somebody's over there. Here's like almost like a branch hitting a tree, thump thump, like thuds. And he was like, "Huh, that's weird." So yeah, that's tree knocks, and he knocked back.
I don't even know about tree knocks.
He talked a few times back and forth with it with like a stick.
They whack
That
trees.
was
It's
it.
hard as
Yeah.
you can, yeah.
Send
they
like,
trees. What do they call?
He said he was freaked the fuck out though, and this is like a dude's like he's in special forces selection. He's like, you don't get easily creeped the fuck out.
Debunk
Right.
on that? Like a bear
There's no
is scratching
debunk on
its
it, really.
back or
No, because
something.
they really knock as hard as they can.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like 100 miles deep in the woods, and it's like
It reverberates like.
yeah, you just and they respond, and you'll do a knock, and then they'll do a knock. You'll do two. They'll do two.
Like Freddie Mercury.
Do you
warming up a
combine
crowd.
tree knocks
Yeah.
with
There's calls.
Calls, yeah.
Sometimes it's calls. Sometimes if they're closer, they throw rocks. You know. This
Yeah,
is an
Bro,
intelligent
you never seen Bobo?
This is an intelligent species that can smell us coming from miles away. So they're just and they're moving at night.
And they blend in really well.
They blend in really well.
Camo.
You can't see 50 feet into the woods out here, let alone in
You can't see far
in the
in
Himalayas
the dark.
with a Yeti in the woods.
All right, real quick.
Or whatever.
Is a chupacabra a real thing?
No, I don't think so.
It was like a dog with like mange or
Yeah,
some
I think it's
shit.
a
A
mange
rodent
dog.
type
Yeah.
dog.
I believe a chupacabra is actually cat-like, but
People have seen it.
They have
People
green
have
eyes?
seen it.
I don't know. I know
It's
nothing
like
about
a
it.
Jersey Devil's another one like that.
I learned about it on The Walking Dead, and then I Googled it, and I was like, chupacabra.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question, Trav. I don't want to get off all the cool military stuff you know about, but now that Dan's excited, you know anything about cattle mutilations and crop circles?
Yeah, actually, I know a little
I
bit
knew you-
about
I
it. Like
knew
I've
you-
heard about it. Like I don't know, like crop circles have been like
He has a UFO in his shirt.
Yeah, I know.
yeah. I don't
Word
know,
for
like
you, buddy.
crop circles, like what you can create them with, like the wood panel and like flatten them out.
Yeah,
but
like the Walker-looking
but
thing.
they've found like other things, like where
Singed.
singed like
It's the
pieces
growth.
of
It's the growth nodes.
that, and like they find like levels, background levels of like fucking radiation or something. I don't know how true that is. It could be just more radioactive background in that soil area. You know what I
Something's
mean?
going on.
Like
Could be an underground test base for nukes.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
been so
anything.
radioactive twice this
But-
year that my kids couldn't go near me for 8 hours.
But like I've seen some like interesting ones where it's like, like fuck, like that could be definitely real. Like how else would something communicate from us without like being around? I don't know. Like we do like hieroglyphs and stuff like that. That's kind of like they can look at it as like you can communicate through pictures. Who knows?
Listen, our government wouldn't study it if it wasn't important.
Yeah, yeah. Exactly.
More Bill Lazar lies.
Yeah.
What is it?
What?
I'm just kidding. I was trying to get you guys.
Wait,
fucking-
wait. What did you say?
More Bill Lazar lies.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
oh, Bob Lazar.
Damn.
Bob Lazar, yeah.
Bob Lazar.
Fucking liar.
I had no idea
all
what you
this
were
shit
talking
came
about.
true, so, you know.
This guy,
They scrubbed his records.
he's like the guy that doesn't know anything about, or maybe
He's so terrestrial.
he's not super hip
yeah.
to the UFO lore / history / science.
I mean, hey, UFOs are just like, the third dimension, or what is it, the fourth dimensional beings that like shamans see when they do ayahuasca
Could be, could be.
ceremonies.
I think they're technical vehicles
Don't
powered
they
by
use, like,
anti-gravity
don't they use,
propulsion.
like, acoustics, too, when you do ayahuasca? Like,
I mean, you sing, you sing, but they don't do acoustics like that, but they do like little chanty sings.
I was supposed to go to Peru for my 40th birthday and do some ayahuasca, but guess what? COVID happened. What can you do?
Are you vaccinated
41.
as a reserve?
Propelled us to this
Active
course that
reserve?
we're on now.
No.
My brother-in-law's active reserve for Air Force, and he got vaccinated.
I've been shot up by enough things in the military for typhoid and Japanese encephalitis and anthrax and all this fucking shit. Like,
Different type of hepatitis.
yeah, it's rough.
A lot of vaccinations.
Yeah, I'm well vaxxed. I'm,
Kids could come out autistic.
Yeah, probably.
If there's a real connection. I don't know if there is or not.
No, that's what they.
Is that a real
themselves
thing?
when
That's
they.
the
Is
argument.
that a real thing?
That's the argument.
Yeah, but it's not a real
But
thing. though.
The argument is that the
thing.
offspring,
bullshit.
the offspring of people who receive certain vaccines have a higher probability to have autistic
No.
kids.
If they get it as a kid, their own vaccine.
Yeah.
They
That
develop
they'll
autism.
turn autistic.
Yeah, but-
so like as babies they get this vaccine, and then
Yes.
like age 5 they're like not with
Right,
it.
but some kids are going to be autistic no matter what you do. So
That's
it's
highly likely.
Like I could have eaten an apple before my heart failed on me.
It's like arrested
It doesn't mean
arrested
it caused it.
development.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, dude. You give somebody something at a certain point of their development, and they don't come out
Yeah, but
right.
causation-
Circuits go.
Yeah.
Correlation is not equal causation.
Bingo.
Yeah, it's true.
Bingo.
And that so it seems like something is cause and effect, but it doesn't mean it is.
Yeah.
No, I hear you. I hear you.
I think it just be like for you and anyone like you, it's just be careful the depths of YouTube you go on.
Me?
Yeah.
Good fucking
Bro,
people.
I don't
people
watch too
make
much-
fucking documentaries on there.
I don't watch too much YouTube.
I could argue why the Earth is
Same.
flat, and it isn't, but I could argue it and have a bunch of things I could say.
If I watch YouTube, it's like how to break down an AR-15 and put it back together again and clean it, or like
You gotta have the
You know,
ATF
how
at
to-
your door pretty soon, dude.
no, or like I used to have. I watch most YouTube videos are relevant to something. Like my old car was a 2008 Dodge Charger, and there's a lot of engine work that needed to be done. I had the rebuild manual, and I was like, I've got this rebuild manual. I've got YouTube. I've got the the mechanical know-how because I've done a couple engines before. I was like, I'm gonna fucking fix this myself.
it's really good though, because even like for me, like if I have something at work that like I have a lot of different skills like in my job, but if it's something like weird that I've just never done before, I'm on YouTube and like 10 minutes later I already know how to do it. It's unbelievable.
All right, we're on like almost a 2-hour countdown. So why don't you guys wrap up with whatever stuff you've got left, and we'll say goodnight to my man Travis. I call him T-Bird. Sorry if that was if I jumped that one on you guys.
Any clarification.
You go ahead.
Well, I don't have much to talk about. I just want to give Travis the moment to, kind of give his last pitch. Like, I know where you want your career to go. So, what would you want? What would, like, if someone's listening and saying, not really realizing about what's going on or what people go through that are in the military, what would you say to them, and what would be you advocate for?
Yeah. So, like, I guess, like, my biggest thing is, like, veterans get, like, kind of a bad rep of being, like, unstable people and all this shit. And I'd say we are very much stable. We just, like, you know what I mean? Like, everybody's got their baggage. Everybody's working on it. We're all people. And the biggest thing is, like, if these people are talking about something and they might trail off, right? Like, support them. Because, like, the biggest thing for veterans are feeling like outsiders because what they say might be, like,
You're separated from your
too
unit.
harsh, right? Too deep or dark or whatever for a normal person, right? And, like, when you react negatively to, like, a story like that, that makes that person feel like, oh, I'm not
broken.
normal. I'm broken.
I'm not one of them anymore.
Yeah, I'm not a normal person. You don't identify with normal people anymore. So I'd say the biggest thing is, like, let that person talk, hear him, and, like, hear his story and, like, feel for him. You don't have to feel bad for him. You can, like, joke with him about it. Like, that's the thing is, like, I have a very light sense of humor. If somebody jokes with me about, like, some of the fucked up shit I did, I'm totally cool with that. I like it. Talk therapy is important. So I think that's, like, one of the biggest things. That and, like, having reform, people need to start pushing for reform in the military for mental health. That'd be my two big pitches.
I'm here for that.
You're my new best friend.
Oh, he's coming back on the show. You guys can talk. What do you want to talk to him about next time? Pick it now. We'll set it up.
I'd like to have him on an alien show.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Like, or just a weird, bizarre show. I think having the fourth person and somebody who knows stuff about it would be cool.
Right. Make it a 3 verse 1. Because I'm just going to be, that's bullshit.
Aliens?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can call it bullshit whatever you want, but
People that don't
you're
believe
wrong.
people that don't believe in extraterrestrials are like Makes no sense to me.
Yeah, we live in a universe with more planets and stars than every grain of sand on every beach on the planet. Oh, we're all alone? You fuck off.
I'm just saying, like, we exist, right? Like,
We exist.
We're sitting here recording a
proof.
podcast. You're telling me that some other fucking organism didn't make it up big enough to have a Wing Chun dummy on his wall and make a podcast? Come on, of course they did.
It's the arrogance of being on the top of the food chain for so long.
And religion, hangover from religion too.
Right.
You know, like the earth was created in so many days.
I don't
that
know,
throws
man.
it all in the you know.
Catholic Church came out and said, like,
No, they had to.
aliens are in. Extraterrestrials are in the church.
Yeah, they had
count.
They're Catholics.
Damn.
I
In
heard-
nomine Padre.
Yeah.
Espiritu Santo.
I actually heard Zeta Reticulans are Catholic. So.
Zeta Reticulans are hardcore Catholics.
You know, Zeta Reticulans, you remember that?
Dude.
I'm proud of you.
Oh, his roommate keeps him appraised of the.
Don't get out my fucking sources.
She keeps him apprised.
The one that
I want to
massages
come in
you?
with surprise.
Pertinent information.
I want to come in with surprise fucking knowledge that
You
guys.
guys, you guys would get along.
You didn't know you didn't know I know about that.
Yo, your roommate and him would get along. They'd hit it off.
Okay, well
They're both artists. I don't care. We're on the air. I'm saying it right now.
Okay.
They're both artists. They're both into a lot of the same topics. She's older than you, and probably you could handle her, dude.
Well, I wouldn't. Wait. You mean like dating?
I just think they'd be cool. I think they'd like. I don't know about dating and all that other stuff. I just think they'd get along.
friends.
They'd jive, man. If they wanted, they can do whatever they
You're
want.
gonna jive with me.
It's 2021. We can be friends with opposite sex.
You guys.
True.
Works out.
I
now.
wasn't saying. Yeah, you're right. I can't be, but
I just know, like, I've seen some of her art paintings, right?
What does she
And
paint?
She paints a lot of
Does.
like
artist.
a lot of psychedelic. I don't know, like. So I've seen some of her art, and I've seen her like book of like inspirational art. And I don't know the name of the guy. You probably do. He does a lot of psychedelic art.
Alex Gray.
Could be. Just throw it out there. Could be. But she has a lot of that shit.
I like Gaga.
A lot of third eye, fucking kaleidoscope
Yeah.
colors, like you're on LSD, shrooms, and fucking a little bit of ketamine all at once, and you're just totally like, total
Time travel.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
can do. She does all art. Though.
does a
It's
lot of
fucking insane. What
She has a lot of cool.
knows
She has a lot
how
of
to
cool
do.
artwork, but I think you guys would hit it off. She would like your painting. But anyway, man, thanks for coming over. We're gonna have you back on next week. We're gonna have my buddy John on. We're gonna talk about woodcrafting and some other stuff. Hopefully, it's fun. But anyway, thanks for listening, and catch you next time.